Welcome back to Le Mans. You are looking at the Minimax finalists on their starting lineup ahead of their grand finale. Let's take you through the starting lineup. Pole position, driving kart number 191 for Strawberry Racing, the reigning International Trophy champion, Albert Friend. On the outside of row number 1, driving the number 111 kart, 20th last year, Tom Reed. As we look at Albie Friend's kart there, Tom Reed on the outside of row number 1. His nickname is the Farmer. On the inside of row number 2, driving kart 164 for Strawberry Racing, the reigning Micromax Grand Finals champion, Jensen Chalk. And on the outside of row number 2, driving kart 142 for KR Sport, Oliver Spencer, who finished 9th in last year's Micromax Grand Final. On the inside of row number 3, driving kart 130 for the TEPS Racing team, representing the Czech Republic, Zdeněk Babicek. Zdeněk 3rd in this race 1 year ago, 5th in last year's Rotax Grand Finals. On the outside of row number 3, the only driver here representing Andorra, Anton Bouchard in kart number 135. Anton finished 5th in the Micromax International Trophy 2 years ago and 22nd in this event last year. He races for the G-Kart 53 team. On the inside of row number 4, from the United Kingdom in kart 153, Harry Taylor for Dan Holland Racing. This is Harry's first International Trophy event. And on the outside of row number 4, driving kart 102, it is the reigning International Trophy Micromax champion for Dan Holland Racing, Emerson McAndrew Uren. On the inside of row number 5, representing Slovakia, Martin Soltis from the KRK Racing team. He finished 27th in last year's Minimax Rotax Grand Finals in Bahrain. And on the outside of row number 5, representing Belgium in kart number 131, the Bouvan Power Team, its driver Vince van der Hallen. On the inside of row number 6, driving kart number 124 for the SFP Racing Team, it is Belgium's Vic van Kampenhout. Vic, 9th in this race a year ago, 11th in the Micromax Grand Finals back in 2022. Next on the grid, on the outside of row 6, representing Lithuania, Patrikas Josius. Patrikas in kart number 125. He was 8th in this event for the GS Racing team 2 years ago as a Micromax driver, 20th in last year's Micromax Grand Final. On row number 7, it's Filip Kijanowski from Poland in the KRK Racing number 190 kart, and from Belgium on the outside of row number 7, driving kart 196, 16th in last year's Micromax Grand Finals for the Bouvan Power entry, Jeff Verbeek. On the inside of row number 8, we have another Polish driver driving kart 133 for the Dan Holland Racing team, Boris Maligranda. Boris finished 14th in this event a year ago as a Micromax driver. On the outside of row number 8, driving kart number 184 for Dan Holland Racing, Poland's Michael Zając. Michael 8th in last year's International Trophy in the Micromax class. Row number 9, driving kart 126 for the MLC Motorsport team, along with CR, his mechanic, that's Alex Goodson, and Alex is in his first international trophy this year. On the outside of row number 9, representing Switzerland in kart number 137, it is Luan Seidel, the only driver in the field on an EKS chassis. He was 22nd in this race 1 year ago. Next on the grid, it is Riley Murrow for the Sam Pollitt Racing team. Riley in kart number 122 retired from the superheat with a bent rear axle, but he is fixed out and ready to go from grid 19. Rounding out the top 20 in kart 187 for the KR Sport team, Archie Rogers Tyler, his mechanic Oakley Pryor, walks away, leaving the driver with the Nigel Mansell tribute crash helmet alone with his thoughts. He starts his first international trophy final from 20th. Then we have on the rest of the starting lineup, number 150, Ari Kallenberg, number 120, Alexander Rachkovsky, Ray Haber in kart 104 from Lebanon, Dominic Takash from Hungary, Kimi May from Germany in kart 105, and then the number 147 of Austria's Nikola Djurdjevic. In kart 157, it is the Emirati Express, Fariz Haroun for the Danielo Rossi entered kart, and Bulgaria's Kalyon Goshev goes from 30th on the grid in kart 101 from Bulgaria. Luca Storder starts on the inside of row number 16 for the Buvan Power team, and Cyprus's Stylianos Georgiou goes from grid 32 in kart 177. Juan Camilo Reyes Garcon from Colombia shares row 17 with Peru's Armando Latorre, and on the 18th and final row of the grid from Algeria, Roslan Sria Isa, and Austria's Helena Oswald, who overcame a roll yesterday and is back in the seat today. Joining me on commentary is Eric Sellis. Eric, the scene is set for the first of our finals. This race will be 13 laps. The winner gets a ticket to the big dance, to the grand finals this year in Sarno, Italy.
Merci Henry. Voilà la grille de départ qui est prête et qui est aux ordres de la direction de course. 36 pilotes qui vont s'élancer à l'instant avec Albert Friend et Tom Reed sur la première ligne, Jenson Schalk et Oliver Spencer sur la deuxième. 36 jeunes pilotes au départ et un seul vainqueur, bien évidemment, mais un double vainqueur outre la course de cette catégorie mini. Eh bien, le vainqueur de cette course gagnera également son ticket pour la grande finale qui aura lieu en Italie au mois d'octobre, du 19 au 26 octobre. Ça sera la grande finale internationale et donc cette course, comme toutes les courses que l'on va suivre cet après-midi, eh bien, elles auront un double enjeu. La victoire d'abord et le ticket ensuite pour la grande finale. Donc autant dire qu'il va y avoir beaucoup d'enjeux, beaucoup de pression. Et pour l'heure, eh bien, ce sont les juniors, les petits, les cadets, pourrait-on dire, qui vont lancer cet après-midi de finale avec la catégorie mini. Une finale qui va se disputer sur 13 tours.
On to the Chemin au Boeuf Straight. Last year, Friend and Chalk battled for this win on the last lap in this race. Friend came out on top. Chalk went on to win the Micromax Grand Finals title. Friend, on that occasion, 4th in the Grand Finals. He has won he's won every race he's competed in on the road, got a time penalty in one of them. What can Albie Friend do? He's got 2 of his teammates around him. It's a British 1, 2, 3, 4. Watch for Oliver Spencer to try and disrupt the strawberry apple cart as we go racing. Off we go into turn number 1. Friend has a good start. Chalk following him through. Emerson McAndrew Urine on the outside. We're 4 wide in the pack. Oh, and a couple of spinners in the middle of the grid. One of them is number 118, Miyazaki, the young lady from Austria for the KRT racing team. Friend, though, has made the perfect getaway with Chalk and Reed following closely behind.
Voilà, le départ qui s'est bien passé pour la tête de course, mais qui a été un petit peu plus mouvementé dans le milieu. Oh là, encore une sortie au freinage du... Ouais, il y a un kart qui s'est retourné. Il y a un kart qui s'est retourné sur le freinage du banking avec son pilote qui est resté coincé dessous. On avait déjà vu cette figure, malheureusement, hier durant les manches de qualification. On espère évidemment que le pilote n'est pas blessé. Et on va voir ce que la direction de course va prendre. Voilà, full course yellow, si l'on peut s'exprimer ainsi, comme en endurance. Voilà, le rythme de course qui est ralenti pour permettre, 1, au commissaire de piste d'évacuer les cartes concernées et 2, peut-être de voir avec le médical si le pilote ou la pilote a besoin d'assistance. Mais en tout cas, figure très très spectaculaire en ce début de course. Quand on vous disait qu'il y avait de la tension, qu'il y avait de l'intensité et des enjeux, eh bien ceci en est la parfaite illustration. Heureusement, ça semble être bien terminé pour ce pilote qui s'est retourné. Alors du côté des cartes impliquées, on en avait à minima 2, a priori Luan Seidel et Boris Maligranda. Alors lequel des deux a été impliqué, mais en tout cas pour l'instant la course est neutralisée.
Okay, let's try and unpick this. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, for the second time in this class this weekend, we have had a kart roll and its driver was trapped underneath. The driver, firstly, both drivers are out. It was Luan Seidel who is there standing next to his number 137 kart. He was the driver that rolled and he was the driver that is out of his kart. But I'm pleased to say, for the second time this week, another driver has stopped, run onto a live racetrack to help the driver out from underneath his cart. Yesterday, it was Stylianos Georgiou from Cyprus. Today, it's Boris Maligranda from Poland who ran over to try and help pull Luan Seidel out from underneath his cart. Both drivers are out and okay. We're under a full course yellow. Albert Friend will lead the field round. Now, there is a little extra to this. During yesterday's race, red flag is out. The red flag is out. And we will have a full restart because I was about to say the only race that Albert Friend was not classified as the winner for yesterday was the race where Helena Oswald rolled her kart. The officials deemed that Albert Friend took the restart too soon and gave him a penalty. And I bet Albert Friend's thinking, oh no, not again. But luckily for Albie, there is a red flag. And of course, that is a mere sideline. Our main concern is obviously for the drivers involved. Now, Luan Seidel has been up and he has walked away from his kart. That's the first thing. He's now decided, and quite rightly so, that hurts a little bit. A bit shocked, a bit shook up. He's now having a little sit down next to the barriers. There are marshals and officials with him. The carts are going past. I'm wondering where Sure, there's medical personnel, the Orange Army here at the circuit. The two marshals there and one of the race control, one of the stewards. They have medical training and they are there. The go-karts themselves, Albert Friend will be brought back to the start-finish line.
Voilà, vous l'avez compris, actuellement la course, après avoir été neutralisée, eh bien, est finalement arrêtée au drapeau rouge. On va donc redonner un départ avec certainement l'ordre initial, puisque on n'avait parcouru qu'un seul tour lorsque le drapeau jaune et le full course yellow avaient été mis en place. Donc les pilotes vont venir se replacer sur la grille de départ. On attend évidemment l'intervention du service médical auprès du pilote qui a été victime de ce tonneau, Luan Siedel, qui va donc recevoir les soins du service médical du circuit du Mans, et ensuite eh bien, on reprendra la mise en grille et la procédure de départ de cette finale de la catégorie mini. Donc voilà, c'est la première course qui est arrêtée de ce week-end, c'est la finale, et on espère évidemment, parce que ça va jouer forcément sur un aspect psychologique sur ces jeunes pilotes. C'est pas toujours évident de reprendre comme ça le cours d'une course, mais ce drapeau rouge est nécessaire pour permettre aux services de sécurité et aux services médicaux de pouvoir prendre en charge le pilote qui a certainement été blessé, Luan Siedel.
So, the drivers lineup you can see on the right-hand side of your screen. Gonzalo Duarte and Cici are two scrutineers. They are checking the front nose cones of the karts. I believe we will have a full restart. I would imagine that we had only completed one lap, so we may have a full restart, 13 laps. That means that the grid will be reset in their original order, not in the running order that they are in now. There is an ambulance who has gone over to check on Luan Siedel, quite rightly so. These are drivers 10, 11 and 12 years old. While we look at the drivers at the side of the circuit, I think it is only right that we will take a short commercial break to show you some of our advertising partners, and we'll be back with an update on how we will get the race restarted. It will be a full regrid, and already you can see the officials starting to move karts into their original positions. But while they do that, we will have a short break.
Envie de capturer cette sensation? Rien de plus simple avec la caméra casque Cambox. Design ultra discret, adapté à tous les casques. Avec sa vue immersive unique au monde, captez vos émotions de course en toute sécurité. Caméra casque Cambox, the safest immersive memories. capturer cette sensation? Rien de plus simple avec la caméra casque Cambox. Design ultra discret, adapté à tous les casques. Avec sa vue immersive unique au monde, captez vos émotions de course en toute sécurité. Caméra casque Cambox, the safest immersive memories.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are looking at the reformation of the Minimax grid. In the foreground, in the black and red Rotax shirt, that is our race director, Manuel Branco, just discussing Albert Friend and Jensen Chalk what he wants them to do, and he's just saying, this is where I want you to bring the speed up, and, you know, telling you how to start the race correctly, which is, you know, great work, communication with these young drivers throughout, because there are rules to be adhered to, and you don't want a driver to get a penalty and then turn around and say, well, the race director didn't tell me what you wanted me to do. Manuel Branco taking charge and making sure that all the drivers have clear instructions, because he's having a chat with Jensen Chalk as well, probably to do with the a little bit of assistance at the start. Second row, there's walking over in the middle of the track in the blue and white overalls. That is Denik Babicek, just hopping back into his kart. The rest of the drivers returning to their vehicles, sadly without Luan Seidel and Boris Maragranda.
Voilà, nous sommes de retour sur la grille de départ qui a été reformée comme à l'initiale, puisqu'on avait couvert à peine un tour lorsque la neutralisation de course a été prononcée, puis ensuite l'arrêt au drapeau rouge. Donc les pilotes se sont réinstallés à leur emplacement d'origine. On va attendre évidemment maintenant les ordres de la direction de course. On va repartir pour un tour de formation. Reste à savoir maintenant si le format de la course va repartir à l'identique ou si il va être réduit, sachant qu'on avait couvert 2 tours. On va attendre évidemment la décision de la direction de course, mais voilà, tous les pilotes sont réinstallés derrière le volant de leurs cartes respectives, et dans quelques instants on va pouvoir relancer cette finale de la catégorie mini initialement prévue sur 13 tours. On va donc voir si on conserve ce schéma, à savoir 13 tours de course, ou si on va réduire éventuellement d'1 ou 2 tours ce format.
Now, as things stand, it will still be a one rolling lap, exactly the same restart procedure as before. They will do one rolling lap and then into what I believe will be a full race distance. Maybe the laps will be cut to 12. We will tell you as we find out. I think it's going to be the same amount of laps. Thank you to Eric, and talking to, Eric Salis alongside me, and then Eric Apex from Apex Timing in the next room over. So, green flag waves, out onto the rolling lap once again. We shall remind you of the starting lineup. It is Albie Friend and Tom Reed, row 1. Jensen Chalk and Oliver Spencer, row 2. Zdenek Babicek, Anton Bouchard, row 3, Harry Taylor and Emerson McAndrew-Uren, row 4, Martin Soltis and Vince van der Hallen, row 5, Vic van Kampenhout and Patrick Joshuas, row 6, Filip Kianowski and Jeff Verbeek, row 7, Michael Zions all on his own on row number 8. That is Ray Haber, the Lebanese driver. Oh no! The Dan Holland Racing entry. And Hammer, new crash helmet this weekend, new race team this weekend, and he will not take the start of the final. Devastation for young Ray, and he will watch this 13-lap race from the sidelines, and there is nothing he can do, so we're down to 33.
Allez, malheureusement avec ce coup de théâtre pour le pilote numéro 104 qui ne va pas pouvoir participer, Ray Harbour qui va pas pouvoir participer à ce restart puisqu'il a eu un problème mécanique problème technique sur son kart. Pendant ce temps-là, le peloton s'est reformé. Et on va pouvoir procéder à un nouveau départ. On repart donc pour 13 tours. Confirmation de la part du chronométrage officiel et de la direction de course. On repart pour 13 tours. Est-ce que le départ va être validé cette fois ? Oui, c'est bon. Alors avec Albert Friend toujours à l'intérieur. Tout à l'heure, on avait vu que Tom Reed avait dû céder sa deuxième position. Mais là, ça semble être conservé pour le pilote qui partait sur la première ligne, me semble-t-il.
Through turns 3 and 4, and everyone's safely round the first couple of corners. Friend leads, Spencer and Chalk side by side for second place. One driver right at the back, the number 133 cut. That Boris Malagranda has been allowed to take the restart, and I think that's an excellent decision considering he sacrificed his own race to help a rival. They have allowed him back in, which is good common sense on behalf of the officials. And down the Chemin au Boeuf straight, single file, Friend opening up a big lead over Spencer, and Emerson McAndrew Uren into P3, followed by Chalk, Babicek, Taylor and the rest.
Voilà, premier tour bouclé. Cette fois, la course est bien lancée avec Albert Friends qui s'est tout de suite détaché avec un superbe premier tour également d'Oliver Spencer qui a été très très agressif dès le départ. Et que dire de Emerson McAndrew Uren qui est remonté en troisième position, qui a gagné 5 places depuis le départ. Jenson Chalk est en quatrième position et Babicek est cinquième.
Through the Maison Blanche S's, out towards the banking. Friend leads by 3/4 of a second at the end of the opening lap. Now, out of the banking, through turns 9 and 10, Spencer, McAndrew Uren and Chalk. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the British karting scene, Spencer for KR Sports, Emerson McAndrew Uren for Dan Holland Racing. Oh, McAndrew up over the back of Spencer's kart. And then I was going to say Chalk for Strawberry Racing. They're the three biggest teams, the three biggest rivals in this class at the moment. Well, they were last year. They're going to have to work together, those three teams, if they want to stop Albie Friend running away with this one. Chalk up to third. McAndrew Uren has dropped to fourth, with Taylor, Babicek and Martin Soltis for KRK Racing up into 7th. Reed has dropped to 8th, Bouchard is 9th, and a fast-starting Riley Murrow. We were joking about the three big teams in the UK. Well, there's 4 big teams in this class in the UK. The fourth of them is Sam Pollitt Racing, and Riley Murrow has already gained 9 places to run inside the top 10.
Et Albert Friend qui est très impressionnant. Attention, attaque au freinage du virage du Technopark. Alors non, elle a été repoussée cette attaque. Mais en tout cas, pour Albert Friend, pour l'instant, c'est une promenade de santé. Le pilote qui s'est retourné pour constater, entre guillemets, les dégâts. Il a maintenant plus d'une seconde d'avance sur Oliver Spencer. Emerson McAndrew Uren est en 3e position. Jenson Chalk est 4e. Et Znedek Babicek est en 5e position sur la ligne de chronométrage. Mais regardez, ça s'explique encore derrière. Et Spencer vient de se faire doubler par 2 pilotes. McAndrew Uren et Chalk, me semble-t-il, sont passés devant Spencer.
Side by side for second, Jenson Chalk capitalises on Emerson McAndrew Uren's move on Spencer at turn number 3. But I tell you what that does, that gives Albie Friend a huge advantage. It's not over by a long shot. We're only on lap number 4 out of 13. But as Friend comes through Virage Technopark, the chasing pack are still heading down the Chemin au Boeuf straight. There's a huge gaggle of them. Riley Murrow trying to make a move, and someone goes over the grass. I think that might have been Michael Soltis. Was it in the yellow and blue KRK Racing entry? It was. Oh, Jensen Chalk has got 2.2 seconds to make up. Jensen and Emerson McAndrew-Uren will have to work together, and they're not, as Chalk defends. Albie Friend is skating away. I won't say the V word just yet, because there's a long way to go. However, this is not in his wildest dreams could Albert Friend have thought that this would be the way things play out. However, on this long circuit, with the slipstream effect as big as it is, should Chalk, McAndrew-Uren and Spencer and Taylor and Babicek, who are close behind, follow them. Oh, Emerson McAndrew-Uren having another little nibble. That's going to cost him second place. It's going to cost him third place, rather, to Oliver Spencer. And here come the cavalry, led by Harry Taylor. McAndrew-Uren trying to go around the outside. They're 3 wide. And Zdenek Babicek gets involved and put the Czech driver up into P5. Oh, it's getting really good. And I tell you who's enjoying this battle more than anyone, it's race leader Albie Friend.
Allez, c'est lancé dans les explications sur le groupe de poursuivants, mais derrière Albie Friends, eh bien, on s'explique de très haute volée. Le problème, c'est que à force de s'expliquer, de se doubler, de se gêner, de fermer les portes, eh bien, pendant ce temps-là, le leader, lui, continue d'accroître son avance. On est quasiment à 3 secondes d'avance pour Albert Friend. Si on ne s'entend pas dans le groupe de chasse, si on ne se laisse pas quelques tours entre guillemets de repos pour tenter de revenir sur le leader, eh bien Albert Friend va aller décrocher son ticket pour la grande finale les doigts dans le nez, si vous me permettez cette expression, parce que là c'est un boulevard qui s'offre à lui. La chasse est lancée. Jensen Schalk est en deuxième position, mais maintenant il faut se concentrer, garder du rythme, garder de la vitesse pour revenir sur le leader. Attention, les drapeaux jaunes, interdiction de doubler bien évidemment, mais en tout cas si personne ne fait l'effort de vouloir redonner du rythme à ce groupe de chasse, Albert Friend est d'ores et déjà sûr de rejoindre l'Italie au mois d'octobre.
Yellow flags waving, and in the foreground you saw the forlorn figure of Faris Haroun. The return of the Danilo Rossi kart brand has not been a happy one for Faris Haroun. The Emirati Express is not going to feature, and he is out of the race, watching from the marshal posts. 33 drivers continue to run. Boris Malagranda at the back of the field. Here we go. Game on for third place. McAndrew-Uren and Spencer pass Harry Taylor. Chalk in second is inching away, but Albie Friend sets another new fastest lap. 58.225 seconds. And his lead now an incredible 4 seconds over everybody else. And I've got to say, it's everybody else's fault that he's got such a big lead. They're fighting while Albie Friend is disappearing. It's great to watch, but tactically, I'm sure they'll be, well, they're kids, they're going to enjoy themselves, but I mean, tactically, they are giving the international trophy for a second season to Albie Friend on a silver platter.
Allez, McAndrew-Uren qui est passé en deuxième position au prix d'un beau dépassement. Mais attention, ça réagit du côté de ses poursuivants. Et McAndrew-Uren qui vient de laisser passer Jason Schalk en deuxième position et qui reprend au moment de rentrer dans le double droit du virage des deux arbres. C'est chaud, mais effectivement, comme le soulignait Henry et comme je vous l'ai expliqué avant, eh bien, ces passes d'armes qui nous ravissent, bien évidemment, parce que on a un superbe spectacle à suivre, mais malheureusement pour tous ces prétendants, eh bien c'est Albert Friends qui fait la bonne opération, parce que retenez-vous bien, il compte désormais 4 secondes et 231 millièmes d'avance. C'est un boulevard qui s'offre à Albert Friend en direction de l'Italie.
Great scrap, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh. McAndrew Uren, Chalk, Spencer, Taylor, Reed, Babicek. 6 drivers, 2 available places on the podium. Van der Halen and Vic van Kampenhout run 8th and 9th for Belgium. Soltis is 10th for Slovakia. Then it's Murrow, Zions. Oh, there's Babicek up the inside of Tom Reed. The farmer almost gets agricultural, but hangs on. Behind Zions in 12th is Archie Rogers Tyler, followed by Josius, Bouchard, Kianowski, Goodson, Kallenberg, Buol, Storder. That's your top 20. Rachkovsky, Verbeek, Miyazanki, Takash, Djurdjevic, Reyes Garson, May, Gyoshev, La Tortuesta, and Syria Isa. Stylianos Georgiou is 31st, followed by Malagranda and Helena Oswald. That is the full list of runners, and Albie Friend, he's got the whole length of the main straight to himself. His lead is 5 seconds. 5 in Minimax, that is unheard of.
Allez, maintenant on va évidemment se concentrer sur la course qui a lieu derrière Albert Friend. Albert Friend, maintenant, il ne devrait plus y avoir de problème pour aller chercher la plus haute marche du podium. Mais qui pour l'accompagner sur les 2 autres marches récentes? Est-ce que ce sera Emerson McAndrew Uren? Est-ce que ce sera Jason Schalk? Est-ce que Oliver Spencer va pouvoir lui aussi venir récupérer une des 2 dernières marches du podium? Ou pourquoi pas encore Harry Taylor? C'est tout le suspense qui réside dans ces derniers tours de course. Il nous reste plus que 2 tours et demi maintenant à parcourir pour voir qui accompagnera Albert Friend sur le podium.
Well, we now start lap 12 out of 13. McAndrew Uren is inching away from Chalk in 3rd, who has got his hands full with Spencer and Taylor. Now, another new fast, 57.84 seconds for Albie Friend. Okay, you'll forgive me, audience, for a moment. Let me tell you a little story, and I hope the parents don't mind me saying this. Emerson McAndrew Uren was chatting to his dad Wayne the other day, and he said, you know, Dad, I really want to win this, but if I don't win it, I want Albie to win it. Now, that says a lot about Emerson McAndrew Uren. It says a lot more about Albie Friend, because even though they drive for rival teams, Albie Friend and Emerson McAndrew, they're 2 of the most well-liked individuals in the sport. The 2 teams don't always see eye to eye. They're 2 of the best in the business, and they have also fallings out. But the way the drivers conduct themselves is remarkable. And Albie Friend, he has finished on the podium in the grand finals 3 consecutive years. He won this event 2 years ago and was excluded on a cruel technicality. He won it last year. He's gonna win it this year. At what point do you start saying that Albert Friend is one of the world's top future motor racing prospects, not just in karting, but in anything? And I've got to say, well done to Nathan and Frag and Paul at Strawberry Racing. Albie Friend once again stands on business. He is your winner. There you go. 3 in a row, 2 that count for Albie Friend, and what a drive. McAndrew Uren takes 2nd. He'll be happy with that. You are looking at a future star. And if we're going to talk mechanics, talk about Albie's mechanic, Lee Taylor, who guided Callum Bradshaw to the 2022 Grand Finals in Senior Rotax. He's guided Albie Friend to 4th in last year's Grand Final, to this event last year, and this against this year. We talk about one of the best behind the wheel. What about one of the best behind the spanners? That's not bad from a lad from Sunderland. Albie Friend is your winner. I apologise, Eric, but some things just have to be said in the moment. McAndrew Uren finishes 2nd. Jensen Chalk again on the podium in 3rd. Harry Taylor 4th. It's a British 1, 2, 3, 4. Derek Babicek 5th. Reed 6th. Talk us through the replay, Eric. You have to excuse me, but sometimes things just have to be said.
Voilà, la finale qui a vu la consécration sans aucune contestation possible de Albert Friend. Albert Friend qui s'est imposé avec, tenez-vous bien, 5 secondes 232 millièmes d'avance, avec en plus dans son escarcelle eh bien, le meilleur tour en cours sous la barre des 58 secondes, 57 779. Et d'ailleurs, ce sont les 3 pilotes qui vont monter sur le podium, qui sont les 3 seuls à être passés sous la barre des 58. On n'oublie pas non plus Oliver Spencer, mais Oliver Spencer qui a joué la dernière marche du podium dans le virage du paddock, eh bien c'est un petit peu raté. Et de fait, eh bien, il s'est fait déborder et il ne termine que 8e. On revoit ici les différentes passes d'armes entre McEnroe, Charles Taylor, Babicek et Spencer. Ça a été très serré tout au long des 13 tours de course. Mais devant, eh bien, Albert Friend a réalisé une véritable démonstration. Alors oui, certes, il a été aidé par cette bagarre incessante derrière lui. Au lieu de revenir, de s'attendre pour allier leurs efforts et peut-être revenir sur le leader et lui contester la victoire, eh bien, ils se sont bagarrés comme des chiffonniers pour notre plus grand plaisir. On a eu des actions d'anthologie entre ces jeunes garçons, mais en tout cas, une chose est sûre, les 3 pilotes qui vont monter sur ce podium tout à l'heure après les courses, eh bien, sont 3 jeunes talents à surveiller assurément. On rappelle la victoire donc d'Albert Friend. Emerson McEnroe est en 2e position et Jenson Schalk termine 3e.
Why do you come here? Is this your career?
Or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best? Challenging yourself over and over again. Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
Or you can't afford mistakes because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are.
capturer cette sensation? Rien de plus simple avec la caméra casque Cambox. Design ultra discret, adapté à tous les casques. Avec sa vue immersive unique au monde, captez vos émotions de course en toute sécurité. Caméra casque Cambox, the safest immersive memories.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the Micromax final here at the Rotax Max Challenge International Trophy 2024. It's the youngest members of our Rotax family, and you can see them on the grid. We will get a quick rundown. We are slightly behind schedule after the earlier incident in Minimax. Manuel Branco chats with our two front row drivers. Joshua Cook for KR Sport starts on the inside of row number 1, kart 5, pole position. Joshua is the British Open champion this year. On the outside of row number 1, driving for KR Sport in conjunction with Synergy, it is Charlie Page. And look at that. Wait there, let's have a look. Oh, no, oh, there we are. That's what you want to see. Great sportsmanship there from Charlie. And I think he may have learnt that from his driver coach, Matt Scheuer, who has done a lot with some very famous drivers, including British Touring Car champion Tom Ingram. Austin Oman, the son of karting royalty Tristram Oman, starts third for the Sam Pollitt Racing team. There's Tristram in front of his Sam Pollitt Racing kart. There's Austin on the grid. There you go, Dad. Have an umbrella. Thank you very much. On the outside of row number 2, representing Hungary, Dominic Rosa. Rosa was 15th in last year's Rotax Grand Finals for the KF Racing team. Inside of row number 3, driver number 1, MKC Motorsports, Marc-Andrea Quesada from France. Mark was 16th in this race 1 year ago. On the outside of row number 3, she made history yesterday by becoming the first girl to win a race in the Rotax International Trophy, the Queen of Kashmir, Attica Mir. On the inside of row number 4, leading the Zip Kart team back into the international frame, socks are off for number 33, Alfie Mayer. And on the outside of row number 4, his Zip Kart teammate, it is Albie J. Stubbs in kart number 96. The inside of row number 5, it's Australia's fast lady, Ava Lawrence, for the Tony Kart Strawberry Racing team. They're going to be bouncing after winning the Minimax race. And starting alongside Ava, Brazil's Pedro Faria in the beautifully liveried Foo Racing Drivers entry. On row number 6, it's kart number 94, Jan Wozniak, and it is the number 87 of Chinese Taipei and the island of Taiwan's Felix Chang. Baptiste, there we go, Felix. Say hello to Uncle Roger. Baptiste Augustine is starting on the inside of row number 7 for the XL Motorsport team, and Benedictus Masiokas in kart 18 is next. Then it is Matthias Drexler and Harris Barber, Max Moore and Alex Baroni, Maria Roberto and Maximilian Rachkovsky, Jensen Walker, and with tuning exclusively by Marvelous Marv, Achilles Peruzzi. Then it is... or is that the other one? Malin. Can't remember. Anyway. Andreas Kellerup goes from the inside of row number 12. He finished as the runner-up in last year's Rotax Grand Finals. And then it's just Theodore Constantiniou. Simon Viegas and Jensen Happy Hammond are on row number 4, and a driver spinning on the outlap will catch up with him. The rest of the field, Theo Esquivel, Jules Chech, Maximilian Kiel, Paul Toinard, Theo Steindale, Kenzo Greenhut, Paul Schutzmann, Tristan Abils, Marian Jokic from Montenegro, and finally George Pile.
Voilà, c'est Effectivement, Marian Djokic qui avait réalisé une petite figure de style avant de retrouver sa place sur la dernière ligne de la grille de départ. Donc pas d'alerte pour Djokic qui va pouvoir reprendre sa position dans le peloton. Un peloton qui est à qui il est demandé de ralentir la cadence. Voilà les marshals et la direction de course qui ont ce départ sous contrôle. On va se présenter dans quelques instants dans la ligne droite des stands pour éventuellement valider ce premier départ. On espère qu'il le sera. Joshua Cook face à Charlie Page. On a vu tout à l'heure cette image très sympa des deux pilotes qui se tapaient dans la main. Est-ce que c'est validé ? Non, ce n'est pas validé. Un peu trop d'écart entre Joshua Cook et Charlie Page.
There's one driver, the black and red livery cart there. Now, that was what you call in French les shambles, that start. And I'm looking back to see it was the number 17 cart. That is Happy Hammond. There was a lot of drivers moving in and out of the tram lines, and Jens has run up over the back of somebody else. Hopefully he hasn't tweaked his wrist, which is always a risk when you do that. But we will go around again. Somebody else at the back of the field. That's the number 4 cart of Jules Schech, who had a spin. But, right. Let's have a look. That was Les Shambles. Here's a look at the starting lineup. If that first start will make Manuel Branco, race director, Le Miffed. And if they mess it up again, he will be Le Angry. And if they mess it up a third time, he will be Le Seething.
On espère qu'il n'y aura pas besoin effectivement de 3 restarts pour lancer cette finale de la catégorie micro. Une finale qui va se disputer sur 11 tours à parcourir pour cette finale micro. Donc attention, Joshua Cook et Charlie Page sur la première ligne, Austin Oman et Dominique Rosa sur la deuxième, Marc-Andrea Quesada, le pilote français, à côté de Atiga Mir, la pilote féminine. Et attention, le restart qui va être donné. Est-ce que cette fois ça va être validé ? Oui, c'est validé.
We are off and racing. This time it is a good start. Oh, one of the zip carts is slow away. A problem for one of the zip carts. And I will try and figure out who that is. It may have been Benedict Dismastiokas. Oh, wheel to wheel between Cook and Murrow. And somebody barrel rolling down the straight. My goodness me. That is driver number 72. And Kenzo Greenhut luckily was deposited. I have never seen a cart that bent. There is another driver in their seat. It's number 44, Simon Villegas, who is up and out of his cart. The other driver is Marian Djokic, the Montenegro-based driver. Oh my goodness me, what a lucky escape we have just had. That number 72 cart barrel rolled, and there is water pumping out of the radiator. In fact, the front wheel is still spinning. I wonder if we can get a camera shot. I mean, Sam McLeod had a huge crash in Campios a few years ago and wrapped the cart round a fence post. That cart, I'm not joking, is a foot out of alignment. At least a foot out of alignment. There are the two others. They are all both okay. The drivers, thankfully. Oh, and look at that. Marian Djokic waving to the crowd. But it's the third cart that is, wow.
Allez, la course qui est pour l'instant neutralisée parce qu'il y a eu cet accident, cet accrochage entre 3 pilotes et une image incroyable. On a retrouvé un des 3 pilotes assis sur la piste, éjecté de son kart. Une image assez rare et assez ahurissante. Et quand on regarde l'état du kart qui est devant nous, on n'a pas vu le numéro, mais en tout cas, ça a été... il me semble que c'est Kenzo Guinut, le numéro 72, le pilote français. Et le kart qui est complètement pas détruit, mais en tout cas déstructuré au niveau du train avant. C'est quelque chose d'incroyable. On a vu le pilote assis tout seul sur la piste. C'est quelque chose d'assez surréaliste.
Okay, sorry, Eric. I can see parents running down the pit lane. I can assure you that all drivers are A-OK. Shaken up, yes. A little bit stunned, almost certainly, but uninjured, thankfully. So for the parents, understandably, running towards the drivers, I can assure you here at the circuit, don't panic, they are okay. Right, we haven't had a red flag because the drivers walked away, karts are off the circuit, and we're going to go racing again at the end of lap number 3. The order, I'm looking back there, Benedictus Masiokas was the zip kart driver that failed to get away at the start. He is still running down in 30th position. The order is Joshua Cook, Austin Oman, Alfie Mayer, Mark Quesada, Charlie Page, Dominic Rosa, Pedro Faria, Ava Lawrence, Albie J. Stubbs and Felix Chang. That's your top 10. It's the KR Sport number 5 of Cook who will bring them to the line.
Et dans cette aventure et dans ce rebondissement de course, eh bien c'est Atiga Mir qui a fait la mauvaise opération. Elle a perdu 5 positions, elle est désormais 11e. Allez, c'est reparti pour cette finale avec toujours Joshua Cook aux commandes qui a parfaitement maîtrisé ce restart devant Alfimer qui a réussi à prendre le meilleur sur Austin Oman. Alfimer qui s'est immiscé en 2e position sur ce restart. En tout cas, très très belle reprise de course de Joshua Cook. Joshua Cook qui est toujours installé aux commandes et derrière ça bouge également à l'entrée du banking. Pour l'heure, pas de problème. Ce premier tour de restart a été parfaitement maîtrisé par l'ensemble du peloton et devant ces 3 cartes qui se sont échappées alors que derrière on est en train de s'empoigner là pour essayer de revenir sur le trio de tête. Allez, nouveau passage dans quelques instants sur la ligne de chronométrage avec normalement Joshua Cook qui mène les débats, c'est ça, avec Alfimer, Austin Oman et derrière c'est Dominic Rosa qui mène la chasse avec Pedro Faria dans son sillage et Marc Quesada qui a perdu une position au restart.
New leader, number 33, Alfie Mayer. He passes Cook going through turn number 1 and sets a new fastest lap of the race. Cook and Austin Oman fall back into line, 2nd and 3rd. Then it is Dominic Rosa a long way back in 4th. This is KR Sport versus Zip Factory Team versus Sam Pollitt Racing at the front. Then the Hungarians, the Brazilians, the French and everybody else trailing behind. Mayer doesn't look over his shoulder as he heads down the Mini Mulsanne into Virage de Techno Park. Josh Cook and Austin Oman know that if they start battling with one another, they will simply bring another 25 or so drivers into the fray. And they don't want a part of that. Looking back here goes Cook for a move. Mayer does defend. He slots back into 3rd. Almost like in the Tour de France, Eric, the peloton, when the lead changes, one driver cycles to the back, another driver, quite literally, rider, cycles to the front. Austin Oman with the new fastest lap, 101.73. These 3 drivers you're looking at now are over a second in front of Rosa and Pedro Faria for the Fu Drivers team. The Brazilian is in 5th with Quesada, Page, Lawrence, Barber and Chang still rounding out the top 10.
Allez, on a 2 trios qui sont quasiment constitués. Les 3 hommes de tête avec Mayer, Cook, Oman qui sont toujours à la bagarre au freinage de la ligne droite du chemin au bœuf. Un tout petit peu plus loin derrière, Rosa et Faria qui sont en train de faire la jonction. Et ensuite, Marc Quesada qui lui aussi va tenter de revenir sur les pilotes qui sont devant lui. Joshua Cook a repris les choses en main. Austin Oman est en 2e position. Alfimer est 3e. Et ça y est, Rosa est quasiment dans l'échappement d'Alfimer. On le voit ici au moment d'aborder le virage numéro 3. 3 et il faut que Quesada arrive à lui aussi rejoindre ces 5 pilotes qui sont devant lui pour pouvoir prétendre à la lutte pour le podium.
It's now 5 for the lead because Rosa and Faria have caught Cook, Oman and Mir. And in fact, already Dominic Rosa, who was let's have a little look. Dominic Rosa, 15th in last year's Grand Finals. Andreas Kellerup, who was the runner-up in last year's Grand Finals, well, he's down in 27th position. The only other driver to have competed in the Grand Finals before is Max Moore. He was 19th in Bahrain last year. He runs 12th on the road here. Of the 5 drivers that competed in this event last year in the Micromax class, Ava Lawrence was the best placed of them. She finished 9th last year. She's running 8th this year. And slowly but surely, Faria is falling away. It's Cook from Oman, from Rosa and Mir. Now, the KR Sport Junior team, well, that was, it's a new addition, really. I mean, Toby George, who ran his own team last year, sort of came on board with KR Sport to run the junior arm of their team. It's getting more and more fashionable in karting as Oman takes second to have almost 2 awnings. One for your juniors, your seniors, and your DD2s or what have you, and then another for your minis and your micros, basically just to keep the kids from underneath the grown-ups' feet. But Toby George is running the KR Sport in cadet arm, as it were, and Cook leads. Pollitt, the Sam Pollitt kart of Oman, was second, now third because Alfie Mir just doesn't know how to give up.
Allez, ça s'explique toujours en tête de la course et pour l'instant Quesada qui n'arrive pas à revenir sur le quintet qui est devant lui. Si Joshua Cook mène toujours la danse derrière, c'est très très chaud entre Alfimer et Austin Oman. Un coup à toi, un coup à moi. Et là, Alfimer vient de reprendre la deuxième position à Austin Oman, alors que derrière Rosa et Faria, pour l'instant, restent, on va dire, dans un rôle d'observateur, mais on l'a vu par le passé et par l'expérience des courses précédentes. Attention à Oman qui essaye de reprendre sur Alfimer. Oh, il s'est raté. Le leader Joshua Cook qui s'est raté et qui va peut-être se faire déborder au moment d'aborder la courbe du paddock. Non, ça va rester, mais c'est très 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 juste pour Joshua Cook. Alfimer deuxième, Dominic Rosa troisième.
Yep, Rosa up to third position as Oman and Mir squabble, and almost we had a 3-wide moment there. Josh Cook holding on to the lead. This battling has brought Pedro Faria back into the mix. As we look to the inside, there goes Oman into turn number 3 to retake third position. New leader, Alfie Mir. Curve de Duchon is the place where the Zip driver moves back to the top. Achilles Peruzzi now sets the fastest lap of the race as Peruzzi, marvellous. Well, Lewis Malin doing a good job on that kart. Obviously, Achilles, his older brother, Leonidas, has got Marvellous Marv on the spanners, and Leonidas has been doing really well. Now Achilles has woken up and is getting used to the rough and tumble of European-style racing. They come through the... now, Austin Oman has snuck into the race lead as we come to complete lap number 10. A black flag for driver number 12, Harris Barber. I'm not quite sure what that is. We start the final lap. Cook back to the lead at turn number 1. Mir second. Here comes Rosa. It's Oman in 4th. Faria in 5th. Pollitt, Oman for Sam Pollitt did lead, but now he doesn't. He led at the start of the lap, did Austin Oman. Now he's 4th. Cook has the advantage.
Et Joshua Cook qui a repris les commandes alors que l'on rentre dans le dernier tour. Et attention, attaque dans le banking. On a vu Oman qui était aux commandes et qui s'est fait déborder par 3 pilotes au freinage du premier virage, alors que il semble que Josh Cook ait pris peut-être un avantage définitif, alors que du côté du virage du Technopark, ça part un petit peu dans tous les sens. Qui va rejoindre Josh Cook sur le podium? Ça sera Alfimer et Austin Oman. Josh Cook qui exulte au volant de son kart. Et oui, il s'impose et il gagne donc le ticket pour la grande finale.
KR Sport and Toby George, Ash Orchard and the crew have an international trophy winner. Welcome to the grand finals, Joshua Cook, and welcome back to the international podium, Alfie May in second place. Nearly 13 years after the passing of Mr. Karting, Martin Hines, the name that he brought to world fame is back on the international podium thanks to Alfie May. And I know Dave Bellchambers and Roger Pitchford will be very, very pleased. They will be a bunch of happy campers. Austin Oman, international podium for him and for his Sam Pollock Racing team. It was a last lap scramble and May making a great move down at the Virage de Techno Park to take second place, and Austin Oman helped push his countryman through. Rosa finishes fourth, Faria finishes fifth for Hungary and for Brazil, Quesada sixth, Ava Lawrence. Well, that is now the new highest finish for any female in one of the finals here at the Rotax International Trophy. Let's have a look at the restart. We'll go through some of the rest of the results. Now, this is where we got very, very lucky. You can see one driver spinning backwards and he clips. Oh my goodness me. Kenzo Greenhut. What a lucky young man you are. Motorsport is very dangerous, ladies and gentlemen, and the next time you hear someone complaining about how expensive crash helmets, rib protectors and neck braces are, well, that is why they are so expensive, because quite simply they save lives. Back to the racing. Oman making a good move briefly on Cook there. These three drivers battled fantastically throughout. Dominic Rosa making a move on Alfie May for third position. That was another move from Rosa, and at this point Rosa got up to second. He runs wide, however. Cook checks over his shoulder. Cook starts to defend. There's going to be an image of the 72 kart of Kenzo Greenhut's coming back on a track, and I'm not lying, it is 1 foot at the right corner and 1 foot at the left corner bent up. Incredible. There was a 3 wide move there that almost ended in disaster, and Dominic Rosa taking advantage, slotting into second place. And there we go into Alfie May was very committed there. Alfie May taking the lead, but that lead didn't last long. Austin Oman led on to the final lap. Josh Cook showing something of a displeasure. So this is the start of the final lap. It was Oman, May and Cook. May makes the move going into turn number 1. Runs a little bit wide. The door opens for Josh Cook. Then you have Rosa diving up the inside of May for second, and elbowing him a little bit wide as they come out of the banking. But then May, what a move from Alfie May. That's why he keeps his socks off for moves like that. And Josh Cook ends up becoming the second British winner of the day. What a result. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That was a review of last year's International Trophy. Now we look ahead to the most experienced drivers, 30 DD2 Masters, the 2-speed Rotax karts, drivers aged 30 years and over. On the right hand side of your screen, Vivian Cusack-Pico. He will start from pole position in kart 733. He won this event 2 years ago. On the right-hand side of the MS Kart race suit, that is your outside front row starter, Jack Dex. This is Jack's return to racing after a layoff of nearly a decade. On the inside of row number 2, driving kart 777, the Kraft Motorsport entry, Fabian Bock from Germany. And on the outside of row number 2, driving kart number 723, the KSB Racing Team Austria's Andreas Brenkusch. On the inside of row number 3, driving kart 727, that's Denmark's Robert Schlunsen for RS competition. And on the outside of row number 3, driving kart 701, Morocco's Nadir Kabaj. He was the 2022 MENA Nations Cup Rental Sprint champion. Then we have Dennis Toom in kart 793, started the superheat from pole position, but forgot to put his transponder on. He has raced for Germany a number of times in the Rotax Grand Finals, and he drives for the Kraft Motorsport Rotax Cyprus entry. He was actually 6th in the Rotax Grand Finals back in 2022. Then it is the number 706 of Charles Seguin, 18th in the Grand Finals 2 years ago, 5th in this event last year. On row number 5, the showman, Harold Watson, for the 709 Sodi Kart team from Peru, looking to make his second trip back to the Grand Finals. He was 7th here a year ago. And on the outside of row number 5, from France, Christophe Capitan, for the RM Concept team. Then, outside the top 10, we have Yannick Nielsen, former sprinter. He's still the fastest man over 100 metres. Apparently, Usain Bolt told him to take up karting because he was scared of him on the athletics track. On the outside of row number 7, Jimmy Chaumier on the number 737 Gillard chassis. Jimmy drives for the PKS competition team. Next up, the owner of the best socks in the paddock, number 712, Wim Rollo. He is for the Sheepers Racing Team, a favourite amongst the Welsh karting fraternity. And Roman Monge, former Superbike team owner, he starts on the outside of row number 7. Monge in kart 713, second in 2022, 10th a year ago, still looking for his first ticket to the Grand Finals. The rest of the field, Martin Konopka and Jeremy Braslier, Bastien Crapote and Jamie Billings, Carl Cleribo and Peter Gutai. The retiring Anthony Hogg, Tony Hogg, for the Brand Racing team, brings the curtain down on a long career in 2024. I believe he has already qualified for the Grand Finals from the UAE Rotax Max Challenge. But the driver that has made more Grand Final appearances than any other for the UAE, with 9, has recovered from a broken shoulder to race here this weekend. Niels Berler, Kjebjorn Edstrom, and the most decorated Rotax driver of them all, double Grand Finals champion, who has appeared in 17 Grand Finals and was the first ever DD2 Masters champion back in 2008. Christoph Adams goes from grid 24. Felipe Villegas, Ron Billings, Anastasios Lukides, Rainier Bourne, Lucas Lippert, and Soo Hun Moon from South Korea round out a 30-strong grid. This race, like all the remaining races today, will be 16 laps in length, a real test of man and machine.
Allez, on se met en place pour le départ de cette finale DD2 Master. Les pilotes les plus expérimentés du plateau, cette DD2 Master qui s'adresse aux pilotes de plus de 30 ans et plus. On a 36 pilotes au départ et une course qui va se disputer sur un total de 16 tours. C'est Vivien Cusack-Picot qui va prendre le départ en pole position. Il aura à ses côtés le Britannique Jack Dex et derrière lui Fabian Bock le 777 et Andreas Brenkusch le 723 du côté de cette ligne de cette colonne droite de la grille de départ. On retrouve derrière une belle brochette de pilotes tricolores et c'est parti, semble-t-il. Ouais, c'est validé par la direction de course avec tout de suite un très très bon départ de Vivien Cusack-Picot et Fabian Bock derrière qui s'est installé en deuxième position. Il n'a pas laissé passer l'opportunité de sauter Jack Dex et il a même failli attaquer directement Cusack-Picot au freinage du virage 3, mais le français a fermement et autoritairement fermé la porte. Cusack-Picot qui est donc en tête au moment où on a l'arrivée dans le banking.
Jack Dex fluffs his lines at the start and allows Vivien Cusack-Picot to get a huge jump, and Dex falls back to fourth position. Fabian Bock is there in second and Robert Schlunzen, I believe, is there in third position. Dex is fourth. And moving up into fifth position, I think that might have been Nadia Kabaj. They're side by side. Dennis, oh, we've got another roll. That is a big one. And that is Andreas Brenkusch. That's 3 races and 3 flips. Brenkusch out of his cart and he lies back on the ground to take a breather. There is a marshal with him, and I was about to say that Vivien Cusack-Picot, if they let him get away, then he could be a tough man to beat. Now, I'm once again looking at Brenkusch, who came down hard on his shoulder, and the minute he got up, he was holding his left shoulder. He is moving around, talking to the marshals, and the race has not been neutralised. We are still under green flag conditions. There is yellow flags waving there, and you can see Brenkusch with grass that has been kicked up. Brenkusch just off to the side of the camera. Oh no, Dennis Toom retiring. It was Toom and Brenkusch, I think, that got together, but up at the front, Cusack-Picot is stretching his advantage. Bock, Schlunzen and Jack Dex need to work hard. Here comes Jack Dex up into P3.
Allez, on est en tête de la course avec toujours Vivien Cusack-Picot qui a pris un petit peu d'avance, mais c'est surtout l'accrochage qui a retenu notre attention entre Dennis Thum et Andreas Brenkusch. Dennis Thum qui est rentré au stand et Andreas Brenkusch qui s'est relevé après avoir passé quelques instants au sol, certainement sonné par le choc. Il se tient l'épaule, peut-être une clavicule. Dans ces cas-là, c'est souvent malheureusement la zone qui est concernée lorsqu'il y a des tonneaux, et pendant ce temps-là, eh bien, Cusack-Picot, lui, est en train il s'est retourné à 2 fois parce qu'il n'y croit pas, vu l'avance qu'il a. Cusack-Picot qui est désormais installé en tête avec 1 seconde 172 millième d'avance sur Robert Schlunzen, parce que derrière, eh bien, entre Bock, Schlunzen, eh bien, on ne se fait pas de cadeau, à l'image ici dans le virage 3 de l'attaque à nouveau de Fabian Bock qui reprend cette deuxième position, et Jack Dex en a profité également pour passer sur Schlunzen.
Meanwhile, behind the battle that you're watching on screen with Dex now moving into third and Bock moving up to second, Schlunzen down to fourth. Fastest lap, I said he was quick. He's quick on his feet as Jack Dex goes through to take P2. Yannick Nielsen sets the fastest lap of the race. Dennis Thum comes back out onto the circuit. Well, he wants to get his money's worth. That's all I can think, or do an engine check to make sure that everything was okay. Also back out, actually, that is Nicolas Cusack-Picot, Vivien Cusack-Picot. The gap, 2.2 seconds. Back to Jack Dex. Right. Jack Dex, we said, runs a very successful team in the UK. As we look back, and that is Charles Seguin passing Fabian Bock for 4th position. It's time now for Jack to remind all the drivers that run for him that the team boss also still knows what he's talking about behind the wheel of a go-kart. He has got a lot of work to do, and he has got Robert Schlunsen bearing down on him with Sagan, I do apologise, Kabaj, Nielsen, Bock, Konopka, Christoph Capitan, Harold Watson, Wim Rouleau, and the rest still there. 29 karts running, including mechanical flag for Anastasios Leukadis. Anastasios Lukides, the Cypriot for the Craft Motorsport team, is getting a mechanical flag because something important's about to fall off.
Allez, c'est toujours la grosse bagarre hein, derrière le leader Vivien Cusack-Picot qui a de nouveau augmenté son avance. Il avait 1 seconde 7 il y a 2 tours. Celle-ci est maintenant de 2 secondes 257 millièmes. C'est Jack Dex qui lance la course-poursuite sur le leader avec derrière lui encore des explications entre Seguin, entre Schleusen, entre Bock et Nielsen aussi qui essayent de revenir. Mais on le voit bien là, en deuxième position, ce trio de pilotes là qui essayent de lancer la poursuite. Dex qui devance le Schleusen et Charles Seguin, voilà, en 3e et 4e position. Jack Dex va-t-il ramener Schleusen et Seguin sur Cusack-Picot? C'est tout l'intérêt de cette finale et de cette course parce qu'aujourd'hui, il semble être au-dessus du lot. Attention quand même, attention. Il avait 2 secondes 2 d'avance il y a quelques instants. Vivien Cusack-Picot dans ce dernier tour. Cette avance a baissé de 2 dixièmes parce que Jack Dex a décidé d'accélérer la cadence.
Well, Jack Dex came out of retirement to do the Dubai O-Plate in January this year out at the Dubai Kartdrome, and he won the DD2 Masters class as we watch the 706 of Charles Sagan passing Robert Schlunsen. The prize that Jack Dex got for winning the Dubai O-Plate was an entry to this event. So in 10 years, this is his second kart race, effective his second major kart race. He's won the first one to earn the right to race in this one, and he's running in second place. This is his only chance to get a ticket to the grand finals. He does not race regularly anymore. He runs his team. So this is a one-off shot for Jack Dex. Cusack-Picot and others in this field, they raced in the Euro Trophy in their various domestic DD2 national championships. We don't have a DD2 championship in the UK, so it is now or never for Jack Dex. His partner Bryony King really wants him to win because she likes the sound of Italy in October for a little holiday. Let's see. The gap is coming down. It was 2.2 seconds. Jack Dex is now just 1.8 seconds down, but we're at the halfway point, and Cusack-Picot is still lapping very comfortably.
Allez, l'écart qui se réduit entre Cusack-Picot et Jack Dex. Jack Dex, comme l'expliquait Henry, qui ne court plus. C'est sa 2e course depuis 10 ans. Il avait participé à une course d'ouverture en début de saison. Et ici, c'est sa 2e course de l'année. Lui qui s'occupe de son équipe. Mais là, Jack Dex fait preuve d'une exceptionnelle dextérité. Et il est en train, petit à petit, de revenir sur le leader. Derrière, on laisse Seguin et Schlunsen s'expliquer pour la dernière marche du podium. Jack Dex, lui, il n'a qu'un objectif, c'est le kart qui est devant lui, le kart du français Vivien Cusack-Picot. 1 seconde 732, il a encore lâché 1 dixième le français dans ce tour. On a basculé dans la deuxième moitié de l'épreuve. On est dans le 10e tour. Il va donc en rester un peu plus de 6 au moment où on se parle. Et Vivien Cusack-Picot devance toujours Jack Dex devant Charles Seguin et Robert Schleusen.
You are watching on your screens the battle for 8th, 9th and 10th. Martin Konopka leads the blue RM Concepts kart of Christoph Capitan, and then the familiar Sodi kart livery of Peru's the showman Harold Watson. Out of turn number 9, Capitan has a little nibble up the inside, goes through, and, there's that famous climbing wall in Yosemite called El Capitan. And our karting's version of that, Christophe Capitan, is now into P8. But Vivian Cusack-Pico is Cusack-Pico the mountain that nobody can climb because he is maintaining his advantage. Jack Dex just a tenth quicker last time round, the gap 1.7 seconds. We are into the final half of this race on lap 11 out of 16, and I think that it just took Jack Dex a little bit too long to get back into P2 after, I gotta say, after messing up one of the most important starts of his life. It's not going to make Jack feel any better, but he's a realist and he'll be the first one to admit that he didn't get a great start and he mistimed it. And now he has got Charles Sagan bearing down on him, and now the gap begins to grow again. Cusack-Pico is just stretching it inch by inch once again.
Vivien Cusack-Pico toujours en tête, mais c'est derrière que la lutte nous intéresse entre Jack Dex et Charles Seguin. Charles Seguin qui est revenu sur le pilote britannique et qui est sur le point de le menacer, peut-être de l'attaquer. Alors peut-être pas ici dans la ligne droite du chemin roubaix, parce qu'on a vu Jack Dex se retourner tout à l'heure, voir la présence du Français dans son pare-choc arrière, et de fait on a l'impression que Jack Dex a peut-être accéléré, a remis un petit peu de charbon dans la machine, si vous me permettez l'expression. En tout cas, ça va être très très serré pour la deuxième marche du podium entre Jack Dex et Charles Seguin.
Did you see that as Vivian Cusack-Pico crossed the start-finish line? He just took his hands off his wheel, off the steering wheel, to just flex his fingers. Now, I wonder, that could be a bit of cramp setting in, or it could be a sign that he's just so relaxed that he's just saying, there's no point hanging on to the steering wheel too tightly. You can imagine that the adrenaline is coursing through. Dex has come back at him. Oh, Cusack-Pico, a personal best middle sector. He just is not giving up one iota of pace and of gap to these two karts, Dex, Sagan and Schlunzen. Then a long way back is, well, not a long way back actually, it is Schlunzen. Yannick Nielsen is 1.5 seconds behind his teammate Schlunzen. I know that Mads Thompson, Yannick's mechanic, who is a grand final podium finisher himself, will be, cheering Yannick on. They have a good time together. A 5th place finish in the International Trophy is not bad going at all. Bock has faded to 7th. Capitan 8th. Konopka 9th. Watson is 10th. Somewhere down the order, Tony Hogg looks like he's on course for a top 20 finish in his final International Trophy. And so where's Christopher Adams? Oh, Christopher Adams has retired, but after a very, very bad health scare, he's beaten cancer as Christopher Adams, and he lives to race another day here. It's not going to be his day today, though.
Seguin toujours très pressant sur Jack Dex. C'est lui qui va peut-être permettre à Vivien Cusack-Pico de terminer sa course sans pression supplémentaire, parce que là, Jack Dex, il est en train de passer un petit peu de temps à soigner ses trajectoires pour fermer les portes sur Charles Seguin. Charles Seguin qui s'est fait très pressant dans le tour écoulé et qui a perdu un petit peu de contact. Il y a quoi ? Il y a 3 longueurs de carte environ entre le Britannique et le Français. Le Français qui va tenter de revenir au contact du Britannique. Il va rester un tour, me semble-t-il. On va attendre la confirmation, mais je pense que nous sommes dans le dernier tour. Est-ce que c'est le cas ? Oui, dernier tour pour Vivien Cusack-Pico. Vivien Cusack-Pico qui laisse filer maintenant quelques dixièmes par-ci par-là. 1 seconde 4 encore d'avance à un tour de la fin. Jack Dex qui continue de maintenir Charles Seguin Seguin à distance pour contrer une éventuelle attaque dans les derniers hectomètres de ce dernier tour. En tout cas, pour l'heure, eh bien, Vivien Cusack-Picot est en train de se diriger vers une belle victoire. Jack Dex vers la deuxième marche du podium. Et peut-être que Charles Seguin ira chercher la troisième. Mais attention quand même à Robert Schulzen qui est... ouais, ça va. Il a perdu le contact, mais il était dans le sillage du Français. Non, il ne pourra pas attaquer. Il est trop loin au freinage de la ligne droite du chemin au bœuf. Et attention à Jack Dex qui a fermé les portes, qui a coupé un petit peu son élan pour piéger Seguin. Mais ça va passer. Jack Dex deuxième et victoire évidemment de Vivien Cusack-Picot accompagné de Charles Seguin à la troisième place sur le podium.
Well, Vivien Cusack-Picot, the half-brother of multiple grand finals entry, Nicolas Picot, who now, and there you go, there's the sporting high fives behind the crash helmet of Jack Dex. I'm sure there will be some bitter disappointment, but 2 years ago, Vivien Cusack-Picot won this event to get his first ticket to the grand finals, and he finished 27th in Portugal. Last year he finished 6th in this event but got his ticket through the Euro Trophy, I believe, or was it the NSK series in France, and he went to Bahrain and finished 21st. He will go to his third consecutive Rotax Grand Finals in Sarno in Italy, aiming to crack the top 20 for the first time. But France has its first winner of the day, Vivien Cusack-Picot, by 1.7 seconds over Jack Dex. Charles Seguin is third. He was fifth last year, on the podium this year. You look at Harold Watson making his way back in. A lot of drivers giving Vivien a high five as he comes in. Robert Schulzen and Yannick Nielsen finished fourth and fifth for Denmark. Let's have a look at this race now. Dennis Thum on the gold crash helmet, and the pink, purple and white cart of Andreas Brenkusch. Probably one of our... Well, we didn't get a highlight clip of their roll there. Dex making a poor start, dropping to fourth. He gets to third, then gets up to second eventually, but not before Schulzen retook him. By the time that Jack Dex did get into P2, and he's still fourth at this stage, but even when he was fourth, look at the difference, the race lead that Cusack-Picot. Now, when Bock went for the inside move on Schulzen, Dex followed him through, then passed Bock, and Seguin coming through. But the minute that Jack Dex got into second place, the leader, Vivien Cusack-Picot, had gone. And a light to flag win for Cusack-Picot. A couple of other names to mention. Well done, Anthony Tony Hogg, the Irishman turned Englishman turned expat out in the UAE. A glittering career in the International Trophy comes to an end in 19th position. And as you see the handshakes, we will go to a commercial break before our next final. Don't go away.
de capturer cette sensation? Rien de plus simple avec la caméra casque Cambox. Design ultra discret, adapté à tous les casques. Avec sa vue immersive unique au monde, captez vos émotions de course en toute sécurité. Caméra casque Cambox, the safest immersive memories.
Why do you come here? Is this your career?
Or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best? Challenging yourself over and over again. Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
Or you can't afford mistakes because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are.
Welcome back to Le Mans and the DD2 final. You are looking at Manuel Branco, our race director, giving our front row starters, Antoine Barbaroux and Imke Arts, the final briefing. Antoine Barbaroux walking across the screen to give high five to fourth place starter Leon Mandel. Won this event last year, came 7th 2 years ago, and is trying to make it back to the grand finals the third year in succession. Imke Arts, 4 times a Rotax grand finalist. She walks down the grid high-fiving her teammates from the Shapers Racing team. We hold our breath. Does history beckon for that young lady for the Netherlands? We'll take you through the full starting lineup now. Pole position, driving kart 601 for RM Concept is Antoine Barbarou. Driving kart 621 for the Sheepers Racing Team, it's Imke Arts from the Netherlands. On the inside of row number 2, driving kart 635 from Slovenia, the SCC Sports Still driver Zendarua. He was runner-up last year and he's finished 7th and 4th in the last 2 Rotax Grand Finals. On the outside of row number 2, driving kart 699, 8th here 1 year ago for the KSB team, it's Austria's Leon Mandel. On row number 3, David Auleshna, originally from Poland, now based in South Wales. He drives kart 665 for the Sheepers Racing Team, and Leonardo Baccaglini from Italy starts on the outside of row number 3 in kart 624. He was 6th here a year ago. He drives a DAP chassis, the factory manufacturer made famous by the late great Ayrton Senna. Then it is Len Nice, a tumultuous time for Len's family, who I hope they are all well. Len racing with a heavy heart, but one way to do a deceased family member proud is by going and winning on the biggest stage of them all. He drives kart number 646. Killian Guerin in kart 625, 16th a year ago in this event. He starts the Dream Racing entry from the outside of row number 4. From Denmark, Patrick Nielsen is next in kart 642, and the only driver on a CRG here, Rasmus Vendelbo, goes in kart 647 from 10th on the grid. Then we have 619, Will Ellswood from the UK and Frederick Zebis from Denmark. William Christensen in 666 is next alongside Jordan Kaye. Nikita Genza and Croatia's former junior international trophy champion Leon Zelenko goes from row number 8. Mats Johan Overhoff, the reigning E20 Rotax Grand Finals champion, he starts on the inside of row number 9 alongside Victor Sandin. Philip Mwatsi and Matthew Fair are next. Then it's Marco Drittenprice in kart 674, youngest driver in the field, aged just 14, and Lebanon's Christoph Risk. Baptiste Schneider and Luis Koch share row number 12 with Camilla Larson in kart 608, starting on the inside of row number 13. Matis Kolmanich is next. Brian Anker in kart 603 is joined on row 14 by Gabon Desert, and behind them, rounding out your top 30, Daniel Quintero from Colombia in kart 633 and Kian de Brandt. Then it's Rafael Jesus representing Angola and the Craft Motorsport Rotax Cyprus entry number 669 on your screens there, Christos Dimitriou. Mohamed Ben Amour. Hello to everyone watching back home in Tunisia. The Tunisian starts on the inside of row number 18 in kart 636. A big hello to Mehdi Hanini. His son Faris Hanini became the first Tunisian to race in this event last year. Maximilian Adolf on the number 626 kart rounds out a capacity 36 kart grid. They call this the ultimate Rotax class. It is the same DD2 two-speed Rotax engine and configuration as the Masters, but they run with a slightly lower minimum weight. Therefore, they are faster. As Eric Salis alongside me. I really hope that the signal on our timing screen saying that Antoine Barbarou has not clocked up is false. Now, if Antoine Barbarou has a transponder on his kart that has stopped working, that is one thing. If he has not got a transponder on his kart, that is another thing altogether. He is out there, but on our screens, he is not clocking up. And I have a feeling there are going to be some very, very nervous Frenchmen and women in the spectator area. Barbarou leads Imke Arts around The final corner, they come to the line. Lights are out. We're off and racing. Yes, Barbaroux's transponder finally clocks up. France can breathe a sigh of relief. We head into turn number 1. 36 DD2s go in. 36 DD2s come out. And it is Barbaroux leading 3 wide into turn number 3. And we're still all safely round with the number 665 cart. Well, David Auleshner has gone off like a Welshman in a field of sheep. He is scything up the order into P2.
Allez, c'est parti sur les chapeaux de roue avec cette petite frayeur. Mais au dernier moment, eh bien, tout est rentré dans l'ordre pour Antoine Barbaroux qui n'apparaissait plus sur nos écrans avec un transpondeur qui fonctionnait. Mais finalement, si, le Français qui s'était lancé et qui a gardé sa position de tête. Et ça se passe de tous les côtés. Et j'ai l'impression que, eh bien, on va retrouver le profil de la première ligne alors que c'était loin d'être évident pour Henke Hartz qui avait dû laisser passer nombre de pilotes. Et bien finalement la néerlandaise a repris possession de sa deuxième place et derrière c'est toujours très chaud entre Leon Mendel et Xen de Roux.
Well, it was a great start from Barbaroux. It wasn't an initially great getaway from Imke Arts. However, she has got those elbows sharpened like never before because she came scything back through the pack, passing Baccaglini, passing Auleshner. Leonardo Baccaglini has fallen all the way back to 8th position. Auleshner is back into 5th. Arts sets off after Barbaroux for the race lead with Zen de Rua and Leon Mandel next in line. It's actually Mandel, then De Rua, then Auleshner, then Len Neisch, Killian Guerin. Leonardo Baccaglini is next, followed by Will Ellsworth in the Kraft Motorsport cart up into the top 10. Zebis, Vendelbo, Overhoff, Zelenko and the rest. All 36 carts safely through the first couple of laps. And the chase at the front is on. Oh, and that's Ellsworth getting nudged aside by Zebis and Vendelbo. So the Danish Bacon duo are seeing off Will Ellsworth, but Will now tucks in behind his Kraft teammate. But new second place, Zen de Rua.
Ouais, Xen de Roux qui vient de s'immiscer à l'intérieur. Il a profité de l'attaque de Leon Mendel sur Inke Hartz. Inke Hartz qui a écarté, qui a ouvert la porte pour éviter le contact avec Leon Mendel. Et finalement, Leon Mendel lui aussi est allé un peu large. Et de fait, eh bien, c'est Xen de Roux qui en a profité pour s'immiscer à la deuxième position. Donc tout est à refaire pour la néerlandaise, qui est en quatrième position maintenant, alors que eh bien Leon Mendel lui est troisième. Leon Mendel qui a perdu donc une place. Il pensait aller chercher la deuxième position et finalement il l'a offerte sur un plateau à Xen de Roux. De Roux deuxième, Mendel troisième, Hartz quatrième, Auleshner est cinquième et Killian Guerin est en sixième position.
2 years ago, De Rua retired from this race whilst in a position to win. Last year, he finished second by a whisker to Barbaroux. We fast forward 12 months, the same two drivers are battling at the front, but De Rua has some work to do. He has finished on the podium. He has seen potential grand finals victory slip through his grasp. He's one of the nearly men of international kart racing. He has got so many wins in domestic competitions, in regional competitions. He qualifies the grand finals either through the SCC trophy, the Euro trophy, year on year on year. And yet, the big dance, the biggest victories, they tend to elude him. It is time to shake off the tag of the nearly man. Every time you enter a race, you see Zen's name on the entry list. Everybody in the field knows that Zen is one of the men to beat. And now he has to show that when push comes to shove, and although that's hopefully not That's figuratively, not literally. Zen has to get it done when it matters most. Behind them, side by side, one driver running very, very wide there, coming out of the Tribune Bend. The gap at the front is 0.3 of a second, and we've got a new fastest lap. It belongs to that man there, Zen Darua, 53.881. Barbarou is under pressure.
Allez, ça fait sens devant avec cette belle bagarre entre Antoine Barbarou et Xanderou. Xanderou qui a repris petit à petit du temps aux Français. Il a comblé l'écart, voilà, qui était de 6 dixièmes. Il est revenu à 3 dixièmes et maintenant il est dans le pare-choc arrière du Français. Autrement dire qu'il n'y a rien du tout sur la ligne de chronométrage. On va l'avoir en précision dans quelques instants. Derrière, c'est Leon Mendel qui cherche à rejoindre le duo qui est devant lui et Oljetner qui tient toujours tête à Inke Hartz qui est en 5e position. La néerlandaise qui a perdu de cela il y a 2 tours cette 4e position, même cette 3e position suite à l'attaque de Leon Mendel et qui maintenant reste au contact. Attention parce que derrière elle, il y a un autre Français, Kylian Guérin, le numéro 625, qui lui aussi aimerait bien venir se mêler à la lutte pour le podium. Qui va accompagner peut-être Antoine Barbarou et Xanderou sur le podium? C'est toute la question parce que entre les deux hommes, ça semble clairement évident maintenant. La victoire va se jouer entre Antoine Barbarou et Xanderou. Ils ont l'air assez au-dessus du lot. On va voir, attention de ne pas commettre d'erreur parce qu'on l'a vu dans les courses précédentes, il suffit d'une mauvaise manœuvre, d'un mauvais dépassement pour ensuite voir le reste du peloton revenir sur la tête de course.
Here we go, Darua drives into the slipstream of race leader Antoine Barbarou out of turn number 1, through turn 2, down the Maison Blanche straight, into turn 3. Now, Curve de Dushan. Darua draws up to the rear bumper of Barbarou's kart out of turn number 5. We're going to go into the Maison Blanche S's. Now through turn 7, out towards the banking. Leon Mandel is right there. Now, if Darou wants to go, he's going to have to go soon because if Mandel gets a little bit closer, then Darou will have to start defending as well as attacking. Although he doesn't get off turn number 9 very well there, does Zendarua, and that brings Mandel closer, and this is not where Zendarou wants to be. He does not want to be thinking about the person behind him making a move. They've got the two Sheepers Racing teammates, Auleshna and Arts, sitting right there in 4th and 5th. There they are with Kilian Guerin in 6th, Bakaglini 7th, and I think in 8th position there's the top 6. Bit of a gap back to Bakaglini in 7th, Zebis 9th, Nice and Vendelbo. But it's 6 for the lead. Now this time, Darua, he's a little bit slow coming out of turn number 5 there, Eric, and Mandel's closing in.
Et Leon Mendel qui attaque et qui est passé dans le banking. Regardez à l'intérieur, Leon Mendel qui prend la 2e place à Xanderou. Leon Mendel, on a vu, qui avait signé au précédent, le record du tour. Et maintenant, tout est à refaire pour Xanderou. Est-ce que ça ne pourrait pas profiter justement à Antoine Barbarou? Antoine Barbarou qui a repris ses distances par rapport au groupe de chasse. Leon Mendel va-t-il être contré par Xanderou à l'intérieur du premier virage? Pour l'instant, ça n'est pas le cas, mais du coup, eh bien, ça fait les affaires du leader qui reprend un petit peu ses distances. Leon Mendel, Xanderou et derrière on a Olechner et Inke Hartz toujours blotti en 5e position dans le pare-choc du kart qui la précède et Kylian Guérin toujours en 6e position. Attention, est-ce qu'on assiste au tournant de la course? Est-ce que Leon Mendel finalement va pouvoir aller mettre la pression sur Antoine Barbarou là où Xanderou n'avait pas réussi à porter son attaque?
That one move from Leon Mandel has cost the chasing pack 0.3 of a second to Antoine Barbarou, and Zendarua looks like he's beginning to struggle. Maybe the tyres going off as we complete lap 10 out of 16, and now here comes Auleshna to have a look at Darua. Mandel has got 0.4 of a second to find. Barbarou continues to lead. Darua now fighting a rear guard action. Auleshna looks to the inside. David Auleshna in 2021, became the first Polish driver to ever step foot on a Rotax Grand Finals podium when he took third in the E20 class. And since then, he has established himself as one of the leading drivers in Poland. And there goes Imke Arts. Arts back into P4. The quest for a podium is not yet over for the Dutch lady, Imke Arts. She passed her teammate, and behind her, here's another move. That was Frederik Zebis trying to pass Kilian Guerin for 6th position. Guerin holds on to 6th, but this group is now fading. At the end of lap number 11 rather. Barbarou leads by 0.483 of a second. Mandel has got to now be perfect. De Rua's hopes, Imke Arts' hopes, they all rest on Leon Mandel's ability to catch Barbarou and draw Barbarou into a battle. Because as things stand, unless Mandel can catch Barbarou, everybody else is out to lunch.
Allez, les hommes de tête sont quasiment inchangés puisqu'on retrouve toujours Antoine Barbarou aux commandes, mais c'est désormais Leon Mendel qui met la pression sur le français là où Xen de Roo avait échoué il y a quelques minutes. Et regardez les deux cartes qui se sont maintenant nettement détachées par rapport à Xen de Roo qui semble avoir quelques problèmes pour suivre le rythme, et il me semble pas impossible que finalement Imke Arts tente une attaque d'ici quelques instants, parce que Imke Arts, la néerlandaise, semble plus rapide que Xen de Roo. On va voir si elle va pouvoir reprendre cette troisième position, synonyme de podium, alors que devant, eh bien Antoine Barbarou s'éclaire maintenant. Il est sous la pression de Leon Mendel qui avait fait grosse impression, qui était revenu dans le milieu du peloton de chasse, qui avait passé 1 à 1 ses adversaires, pris le meilleur sur Xen de Roo, et maintenant il va s'attaquer au leader. Va-t-il réussir? Il reste 3 tours.
We are in the final few laps. We will complete lap 13 out of 16 this time around. De Roo beginning to hold up the train behind him. There is Arts, Olesna, followed by Guerin, Zebis, Bakaglini, but the gap to the leader is shrinking. Up at the front, Mandel now within 1/4 of a second, just 0.25 of a second, separating Austria from France. At the front, oh, there goes Kilian Guerin on Olesna, and it's 3 wide. Zebis tried to sneak up the inside, so does Bakaglini. But Guerin, now that will release Imke Arts to attack Xen de Roo all on her own. So it's now a one-on-one fight for the win. It's now a one-on-one fight for third. This on your screen is the battle for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th.
Et attaque de Mendel, il est passé, non, Barbarou qui a repris les commandes, mais c'était une première alerte. Attention, Antoine Barbarou, il a compris, Leon Mendel ne laissera passer aucune occasion.
That was the first head. Sorry we didn't catch it on air, but well done, Eric. You were looking out the window. You saw it. Mandel diving around the outside of Virage de Technopark. That just about worked, but then Barbarou had the inside line going into... Oh, there was a little bit of a Danish a greeting from Dane to Dane. So, game on. Mandel on the penultimate lap is there. This is the battle for third position. De Roo, 5 kart lengths in front, and we've got a new leader. His name is Leon Mandel from Austria. Barbarou's defences are breached. Now we time to ring the dinner bell. It's game on.
Et c'est toujours la grosse bagarre, hein. On va rentrer dans le dernier tour, me semble-t-il, dernier tour entre Leon Mendel et Antoine Barbarou. Antoine Barbarou qui va tenter de reprendre le leadership à Leon Mendel. Attention, attaque à l'intérieur, est-ce que ça va passer? Oui, Barbarou qui reprend les commandes de la course face à Leon Mendel, et c'est maintenant ou jamais. Il va falloir garder cette position. On a vu Leon Mendel qui faisait un geste de la main. On se rend coup pour coup entre Antoine Barbarou et Leon Mendel est deuxième, Xen de Roo sous la pression d'Imke Arts qui va aller peut-être chercher à l'intérieur du banking le podium. Non, ça ne passe pas pour la néerlandaise.
Leon Mandel is not happy. The move happened at turn number 1. Barbaroo looks over his shoulder. Mandel will not catch him. Behind them, Zendaroo inches in front of Imke Arts. Can the Dutch lady put it on the podium and make some history? The answer is not yet. Barbaroo wins. It's an almost tie for third. Barbaroo makes it 2 out of 2. Mandel tried, but Mandel is not happy. Barbaroo wins on the track, and Zendaroo for Slovenia takes another podium. P3 by 0.7 hundredths of a second from Imke Arts, and yet Imke Arts is now this event's highest ever female finisher in 4th position. It's been a great day for the ladies, and Imke Arts showing why. You can't say about a lady's age, but she is one of the senior female figures in the world of karting, and she finishes 4th in the international trophy. Kilian Guerin 5th for France, Auleshna 6th, Vendelbo 7th, Will Ellswood, a great drive for Will, in 8th place, 9th for Frederick Zebis, Len Nice in 10th, followed by Christiansen, Bakaglini, Overhoff, Zelenko and Genser. You will see the full list of finishers on your screen there, but the emotion will come out from number 601. There he is, the Frenchman Antoine Barbaroo, struggling to compose himself. Now, let's have a look at the start, because Imke Arts did not make a good start. Darua trying to take the lead, and I think that Zendaroo knew he had to take the lead early on because his kart was not as strong as the race progressed. He battled back past Leonardo Baccaglini, past David Auleshna, past Imke Arts, who then came back into the picture. Arts took second, but then Mandel making his move on to Rua quickly and early. There's a little bit further back there. That's Leonardo Baccaglini, and the number 6, 7, 8 kart of Frederick Zebis, having one of several close moments. Imke Arts fought back, battling with David Auleshna, but Mandel took second. At this point, the gap was 0.4 of a second. Darua having to defend from Auleshna, and once Auleshna had been dispatched, Imke Arts was Darua's next threat. Almost a 3-wide moment. There's Zebis again, who had a feisty race, it had to be said. The move briefly for the race lead. Mandel, after one failed attempt at Virage du Technopark, took the lead there, and now Barbaroo, the great switchover into turn number 1. Ooh, that's why Leon Mandel wasn't happy, but as Barbaroo crossed the line, Imke Arts within half a kart length of a podium. A sporting handshake between Darua, a podium finisher again. When will that first win come? We will have to wait and see, maybe in Spain. But here's the next race after this commercial break.
Capturer cette sensation? Rien de plus simple avec la caméra casque Cambox. Design ultra discret, adapté à tous les casques, Avec sa vue immersive unique au monde, captez vos émotions de course en toute sécurité. Caméra casque Cambox, the safest immersive memories.
Already there is drama because as you are watching the rest of the grid assemble, our pole sitter Jacob Ashcroft is only just now arriving on the starting grid. He will take up his position. I know Barry likes to make a grand entrance. I'm probably sure they said, Dad's just get the cart down. Let me do my thing. Barry will be on Facebook Live yesterday telling everyone what happened, why he missed the call. But he did make it to the grid gate. That is all that matters. Jacob Ashcroft due to start this from pole position. Driver number 222 for the Dan Holland Racing team. This driver, well, started out racing in the Daniel Ricciardo series, got one opportunity to race internationally back in 2020 at the International Trophy, funnily enough, in Portimao. Won a ticket to the grand finals that never were due to COVID after that. So rather than be discouraged, he went and qualified in 2022 in Minimax and came second. He qualified again last year and came third. He finished fourth as a Minimax driver in this event a year ago, and now he starts from pole position in his first season as a junior. Matthew Dauvergne starts on the outside of row number 1 in the number 276 kart for the PB kart team. Then you have Boaz Maximov in the Bouvan Power number 232 kart. Boaz 32nd in this race a year ago. Tish van Wyk in the Dutch liveried race suit. He starts kart 246. Another of the Bovan Power karts on the outside of row number 2. Then we have Lewis Goff for the Sam Pollitt Racing team starting on row number 3 in kart 2560 alongside Wales' Cameron Nelson. The Dan Holland Racing team, Ponteclean's Cameron Nelson on the outside of row 3. On row number 4, Lucas Skeles from France in kart 2, number 255. Luca, 5th a year ago in this race. And Theo Palmer having a breakout weekend for the XL Motorsport team. Double British kart champion Morgan Porter has been working with Theo, and Theo starts on the outside of row number 4. You're looking then at Caden Higgins in kart number 257. He represents the UAE, but he's Australian by birth. He's for the Dream Racing team. And Charlie Smith, the only American driver here for Strawberry Racing, Newport Beach, California. Well, it's probably about 9 o'clock in the morning out in California on the West Coast. He, a familiar figure around Los Angeles, and Charlie Smith makes his international trophy debut in 10th position. Brian van der Weken and Noah Janssen start on row number 6. We're looking down a bit further down the field. That's Yuri Levar and Connor Clancy in kart number 294. Connor's mechanic Alex Gill going for the plain black bucket hat look to hide the fact that he's probably horrifically sunburned underneath that. Then it is Lilian Suarez and Pablo Estevez, then all French 8th row. We missed out Oscar Goodshow and Casper Nissen from row number 7. Then it's Matisse Omaitre there on the right hand side of your screen from Senegal, keeping the Senegalese flag flying proudly. And then Will Archer making his international debut and getting into the final for the Sam Pollitt Racing team. There is Will. Will on the Esprit chassis. Antoine Grissel goes next in kart 208, 7th as a Minimax driver in this event 2 years ago. And Rayan Bourguignon in kart 223 is next. Jeremy Roivers there in kart 221, the black and red machine, Kart Club Campillos. His family own that circuit. And Leonidas Peruzzi, can't remember the name of his mechanic. It'll come to me. I can't remember the name of his mechanic. Oh, Lewis Malin, that's the one. There he is. No, it's Marvellous Marv, an ex-British touring car mechanic and a wonderful, wonderful engineer of both car and kart and smoker of good cigarettes, which he's going to give me later on. Moving on, we have Kai Clark. There's Kai Clark and his mechanic Joe Bleakley. Kai and his family are here, and it would be just wonderful if Kai and that family had something to celebrate after a tough year so far for the KR Sport driver, but he is there. And then our first MKC Motorsport entry, Lorenzo Giaquinto in kart number 280, 20th last year. There is New Zealand's Maxim Kerwin. His mechanic Ed Matthews retired from karting last year. After this event, Kerwin has raced his way in wonderfully after bad qualifying. Matthias Kellerup is next, and there on the outside of the 15th row, Austria's Dragos Avisilkute. On the inside of the row, it is Maxime Prudent with his mechanic doing a wonderful catalogue pose for us all at home. Karting mums, hold your breath. Ollie Wise makes his first international appearance in kart 256, and there's Vivian Gionnet, who lost a side pod in that number 211 kart and just scrapes in. Now, some of the really, really lucky ones. Martin Lichner from Slovakia in kart 216 and Noah Barham in kart 227. The final 2 rows of the grid. In her first time racing in Europe, Eva Morris will start in the final, and on the outside of the final row, her Slovakian countrywoman Laura Bubinova on the Lando Norris chassis, kart 273 for the DKR Racing team. They just make it in. Well, if Imke Arts wanted to inspire anybody, she's definitely inspired those 2 young ladies, the back of the field. Once more, the grid assistants leave the circuit. Can't call them pom-pom girls, can I? Well, whoops. 16 laps, junior Rotax. This could be very, very special indeed. Eric Sellis.
Voilà, on va retrouver donc cette catégorie junior pour 16 tours de course, là encore dans cette finale, avec Jacob Ashcroft qui va partir de la pole position. Matteo d'Auvergne à ses côtés, le pilote français plutôt détendu sur la grille de départ. Il a pris le temps de faire un selfie avec son mécanicien sur la grille, donc ça va, il est détendu. Maintenant il faut rentrer dans la course parce que 16 tours ça va être compliqué et il va falloir être le plus performant possible. Il va falloir être le plus performant possible parce qu'au bout, non seulement il y a la victoire, mais il y a aussi le ticket pour la grande finale qui aura lieu du 19 au 26 octobre en Italie. Donc double enjeu cet après-midi comme pour l'ensemble des participants au final. Et dans quelques instants, on va lancer le tour de formation avec Jacob Ashcroft, donc Matteo d'Auvergne, qui seront suivis par Maximov et Van Wyk. Lewis Goff sera sur la 3e ligne avec Cameron Nelson également. Le pilote britannique Lucas Seles, le numéro 255, s'élancera depuis la 4e ligne de la grille de départ avec à ses côtés Théo Palmer. Donc vous le voyez, il va y avoir du spectacle, il y a du beau monde sur ces 4 premières lignes et il va falloir être très compétitif, très malin aussi, pourquoi pas, il faut le dire, pour réussir son envol et surtout réussir une très grosse performance. Je vous le rappelle, 16 tours de course à parcourir. Les pilotes sont entrés dans leur tour de chauffe et tour de formation. Dans quelques instants, ils vont ralentir pour reformer cette grille de départ pour se mettre à la disposition de la direction de course qui va lancer le départ de cette finale junior. Voilà, on a terminé de passer le virage du banking. Jacob Ashcroft qui donne le rythme de cette mise en place avec juste derrière lui évidemment Matteo d'Auvergne. Il va falloir être très réactif au départ. On l'a vu tout à l'heure, il y a pas mal de séquences et il y a pas mal de physionomies de départ où on a vu le pilote qui était derrière le poleman, qui s'est lancé depuis la 2e ligne, pouvoir s'immiscer à l'intérieur parce qu'évidemment, Matteo d'Auvergne, s'il part en 2e position, il est à l'extérieur du premier virage. Ça veut dire qu'il va ouvrir la porte s'il n'arrive pas à plonger devant le poleman ou juste dans son sillage. Eh bien, il va ouvrir la porte et donc ça va être compliqué. Mais attention, voilà, tout le monde est en place. Ça va vite.
Here we go.
C'est parti pour Jacob Ashcroft. Est-ce que Matteo d'Auvergne va pouvoir conserver sa 2e position? Je vous le disais, ça va être compliqué. Il est à l'extérieur, mais il fait tout le tour. Oh là là, il y a eu il y a 2 cartes qui se chevauchaient. Heureusement, j'espère sans gravité pour le pilote. On a 4 cartes qui sont...
Yeah, Roivers up. Oh, sorry, Eric. Jeremy Roivers up over the back of, I think that is, the 256 cart. Oh, dear, what a shame for Ollie Wise. Also in trouble is Roivers is back going again. Also getting going at the back of the field, the 211 cart. That's Vivienne Gionnet. Vivienne has been in the wars. Now there was one driver still sat in the car. It was Leonidas Peruzzi. Leonidas Peruzzi is still sat in his cart. He has got 3 marshals with him. They're talking to him. Now I know Mum is here watching. We'll wait before Mum panics. I'm looking there where the race is carrying on. Ashcroft leads from Dauvigny and they pass the scene of the incident up into P3. The yellow flags are out at turn number 1, but we're green the rest of the way around, and Jacob Ashcroft begins to pull away, and up into 2nd position goes Tish Van Wyk.
Voilà, Van Wyk qui a plongé à l'intérieur du virage 3 sur d'Auvergne.
Peruzzi is up and out of his cart. Leonidas Peruzzi is up and out of his cart and is walking away. You can possibly just see it, not in the background of that shot. Peruzzi is walking away.
Voilà, Peruzzi qui est donc sorti de son kart et qui a pu suivre les commissaires de piste pour s'extraire de la zone dangereuse. Et attention, ça se complique pour Matteo d'Auvergne qui vient de perdre une autre position après Van Wyk qui lui avait fait les freins dans le virage numéro 3. Eh bien, c'est Lewis Goff maintenant qui s'est intercalé en 3e position, alors que devant, Jacob Ashcroft pour l'instant est toujours aux commandes, mais sous la menace du pilote néerlandais qui passe à l'intérieur. Attaque au virage des 2 arbres. Van Wyk qui prend les commandes de cette finale junior devant Ashcroft, Lewis Goff et Matteo d'Auvergne.
Good move there from Tish Van Wyk, and Ashcroft doesn't try and fight it, falls back into line. Now, and Lewis Goff trying to go around the outside. Ashcroft won't have a barge of it. And now, up into P4 comes Cameron Nelson. Nelson up into 4th position now. And here comes Goff back at Nelson. They both run wide. Nelson over the grass. That allows Tavernier to squeeze round the outside. Goff defends, however, and suddenly we have got, where is Ashcroft? Ashcroft's back to 6th. Ashcroft gets muscled back to 6th, and Tish Van Wyk leads by 1 second. From Goff, from Nelson, from Lucas Gelles, Tavernier, and then it's Ashcroft. So Jacob Ashcroft getting muscled out there. I didn't quite see where he fell back so far, but I've got to say, in almost every race so far, the drivers battling in second and third have handed the leader an easy path to victory. Have we seen the same again in juniors?
Et Ashcroft qui est seulement au 6e parce qu'il est parti au large dans le virage du Technopark. Il est allé taper le cône qui matérialise l'extérieur du virage, et donc il a dû reprendre une partie de l'herbe pour rejoindre la piste, et forcément il a perdu du temps. Et pendant ce temps-là, Tish Van Wyk est en train de creuser l'écart. 1 seconde et 13 centièmes d'avance sur Lewis Goff. Nelson Cameron est en 3e position, et derrière on retrouve les deux Français, Lucas Selles et Matteo d'Auvergne. Il va falloir réagir pour les Français s'ils veulent aller retrouver les avant-postes, et surtout espérer que la bagarre ne fasse pas trop de dégâts pour que Lewis Goff notamment puisse donner le rythme et revenir sur le Néerlandais qui est en train de partir et d'aller chercher peut-être une victoire facile.
Sadly, Kai Clark has joined Leonidas Peruzzi as a retirement from this race. Ollie Wise, Vivian Gionnet and Jeremy Roivers still a long way back after their first corner incident. Laura Bubanova is 31st, Lilian Suarez 30th, Giaquinto is 29th, Estevez 28th, Eva Morris up into 27th. Biggest mover so far, Noah Barham. Barham up into the top 20 ahead of Kellerup. Ormetra has dropped back, so has Maxim Kerwin. And up at the front, the lead is 1.1 second from Tish Van Wyk over Lewis Goff. But Lewis Goff is going to feel some pressure from behind sooner or later, because Lucas Gelles in third has just set the new fastest lap of the race, 55.895 seconds. Nelson is right behind Gelles and in the slipstream and allowing Gelles to drag him along. Then it's Tavernier, and now there's Jacob Ashcroft just setting a purple middle sector. Somebody else is slowing down, and I looked up there, right. Oh my word, I hate it when this happens. I absolutely hate it. But there is a driver out there who had just deliberately slowed down and tried to take out Vivian Gionnet and has now sped up. If I were the Sam Pollitt Racing team, I would be trying to signal that driver off the circuit before he gets himself into trouble, and that is all I will say.
Et Nelson a repris la 3e position à Lucas Selles. Lucas Selles qui tente de réagir, et on va se regrouper, mais encore une fois avec cette bagarre pour la 2e position. On perd du temps sur le leader Tish Van Wyk qui évidemment profite de cette bagarre. Regardez, ça part dans tous les sens, et Matteo d'Auvergne qui va perdre encore une position parce que devant lui ça s'est un petit peu embrouillé, et de fait il a été obligé de couper son élan, et il a de nouveau perdu une position. C'est Jacob Ashcroft maintenant qui est revenu devant lui, alors que Van Wyk lui continue d'enfiler les tours comme on enfile les perles, et que derrière Lewis Goff, plutôt que de éventuellement profiter de la dynamique de Lucas Selles, ferme toutes les portes. On peut pas lui reprocher non plus cette bonne guerre. On cherche aussi à terminer sur le podium, mais il semble que Lucas Selles là soit un petit peu plus rapide que Lewis Goff, que le Britannique, mais celui-ci défend bec et ongle sa position, et on perd du temps. Tout à l'heure il y avait 1 seconde 2 d'avance pour Tish Van Wyk. Elle est désormais de 2 secondes 285 cette avance en un tour. Il a quasiment doublé son écart sur le reste du peloton, et le Néerlandais, sauf incident, devrait pouvoir aller chercher sans problème la victoire.
Great battle going on down the field. Tish van Wyk now has a 2.2 second advantage. No, scrap that. He has a 3.3 second advantage over Goff, who is manfully trying to hold off Nelson. Skeles, you're looking a little bit further back. There's Oscar Guccio chasing the number 257 cart of Caden Higgins. Guccio and Higgins, Higgins is 8th, Guccio is 9th. They're chasing Boaz Maximov. Maxime Prudent just sets the fastest lap of the race. If we look a little bit ahead, there's a great battle going on for second place between about 5 drivers. Here it is. There is Goff, Nelson, then a gap back to Skeles in the yellow and the orange and blue machine for RM Concept. Then it is Ashcroft recovering and trying to get back onto the podium, followed by Tavernier. Then a small gap back to Boaz Maximov in the Bouvan Power machine. Then it is Bran van der Weken, Boaz's teammate in kart number 296, followed by Guccio, Higgins, Nissen, Yuri Levar, Smith, Palmer, Clancy, and the rest. Noah Barham still in 20th. He's gained more places than anybody else. Laura Bubanova has gained 11 places. She is up into 25th spot. And Eva Morris still running in 29th. But, sorry, Eric. Here's a look at the move. Further back, Skeles defending from Dauvigny. And Ashcroft has dropped back again. And I think now that is... Who is that that's gone past the young Englishman, Tavernier? And I think Boaz Maximov might have gone past as well. Yes, indeed he has. Ashcroft's bid for a win has gone, and his bid for a podium also now looks shaky, but it's on for second place. But Tish van Wyk is waltzing away.
Ouais, le et Matteo Dauvergne qui s'est raté à la sortie du premier virage et qui est parti au large et qui s'est fait doubler par 4 pilotes. Ça va être compliqué maintenant pour le Français pour aller jouer aux avant-postes. Il a perdu beaucoup de terrain et devant on retrouve toujours Goff et Nelson au coude à coude et c'est désormais Lucas Seles qui porte les espoirs des couleurs tricolores dans cette finale junior. Va-t-il être en mesure de revenir sur le duo qui est devant lui parce que de loin devant, Tish van Wyk est à l'abri d'une quelconque mésaventure, sauf incident technique, évidemment ce qu'on ne souhaite absolument pas aux jeunes néerlandais. Eh bien Tish van Wyk lui file tout droit vers la victoire. Alors qui derrière lui pour l'accompagner sur le podium? Goff ou Nelson? Pourquoi pas Céleste, mais il va falloir réagir pour le Français. Il reste que 5 tours avant le dénouement de cette finale junior.
Yes, well, Lewis Goff's father, Sean, runs the Optima Motorsport team in GT racing. And Lewis, who last year suffered a nasty accident at the Welsh circuit of Glenagorse and really hurt his wrists quite badly, has fought back well and has really come to the fore. He's been part of the whole Sam Pollock Racing revival this year. And Cameron Nelson, again, a driver who has come on leaps and bounds in the last 18 months or so, from Pontyclun in South Wales. He is trying his hardest to catch Lewis Goff, but at the moment, Goff has just got enough to steer clear. Tish van Wyk, there he is for Bouvan Power, the Belgian team, or the Belgian-Dutch team. There's an awful lot of Belgian drivers in there for the Bouvan Power outfit, and they have been very, very strong, and they are, at the moment, they're not just breaking the British stranglehold on this clash, they are smashing it to smithereens with a fantastic drive from Tish van Wyk, who made one move, and then just allowed the rest to slow each other down, beat each other up, and he is clear by a country mile. We talk about how close karting is. Well, it is normally, and down the field you can see how close it is, but every once in a while, the drivers at the front who have won these races have just got it so right. Albert Friend, fantastic. It was a wonderful head-to-head fight in Micromax, a walk away in Minimax. In DD2 Masters, it was pretty simple for Cusack Pico. Once he got away, Barbara Ruin had to fight for every tooth and nail. And now in juniors, the penultimate race of the event, we have got a walk-away win for Van Wyk.
Allez, pour Tige Van Dijk, ça sent bon. Et derrière, ça revient entre Céleste et Maximov sur Goff et Nelson. Goff et Nelson qui sont toujours au coude à coude. Nelson qui, pour l'instant, n'a pas tenté d'attaquer son compatriote. Mais derrière, eh bien, Lucas Céleste est en train de combler petit à petit ce retard. Mais ça va être trop juste. Il va ne rester que 2 tours, peut-être même 1 tour et demi actuellement encore à parcourir pour le néerlandais avant d'aller chercher la victoire. En tout cas, Lewis Goff eh bien, a su manager la pression imprimée par Cameron Nelson. Ça reste pour l'instant clairement défini, mais attention, Céleste est en train de revenir. Céleste qui vient dans le sillage quasiment de Cameron Nelson. Est-ce que Céleste va pouvoir dans ce dernier tour et demi aller chercher une place sur le podium? Pourquoi pas? En tout cas, le Français aura fait tout ce qu'il faut pour revenir. Il aura tout donné. Maintenant, entre revenir et attaquer, c'est une autre chose.
Matthew Dauvergne has spun out of this battle that we're looking. You've only got 4 karts on your screen. That's because Dauvergne has spun coming out of turn number 5 on the last lap. And he is now down in 25th. Here comes Skeles now as we begin as we complete lap number 15. Here comes Tige Van Dijk onto his final lap, but it's going to be Goff versus Nelson versus Skeles, potentially even Maximov for the final 2 places onto the podium. Lewis Goff goes through turn number 1, the restaurant curve. Huge numbers of spectators here out on the banking surrounding the outside of the circuit. It's standing room only on the pit wall and at the top of the garages. They're going to be cheering the Flying Dutchman. Tige Van Dijk home very shortly, but at the moment it's Goff holding on to second from Nelson. Skeles though is looking quick. Has the Frenchman got anything for the Welshman in the final half a lap? Eric?
Allez, c'est la ligne droite du chemin au bœuf qui pourrait faire la différence. Allez, au freinage, Céleste qui va essayer d'attaquer, qui va essayer de déborder, mais ça ne passera pas. Van Dijk va s'imposer de façon impériale, voilà. Et derrière, on va arriver très très groupé, mais ça va rester dans l'ordre établi. Lewis Goff et Cameron Nelson accompagnent Tige Van Dijk sur le podium de cette finale junior. Mais quelle course derrière l'intouchable néerlandais.
Well, he's wearing the Dutch national race suit. Tige Van Dijk went to Bahrain last year, qualified for the first time for the grand finals and finished 47th. If this year's form is anything to go by, he is going to be much, much better placed in 2024 as he books his ticket to Sarno by 4 seconds over Lewis Goff, who would be Lewis's best international result. And for Cameron Nelson, Lucas Skeles, it's now 3 consecutive top 5 finishes for Skeles. 5th last year, 4th this year, 3rd as a Minimax driver 2 years ago. Boaz Maximov rounds out the top 5. Further down the order, there will be tales of woe. Now, you may have heard me talk about one Sam Pollitt driver who was slowing down to try and, bump into, knock Vivian Giene off. Luckily, that particular driver saw the light of day and continued to do the rest of the race correctly. There is the start, and that is, there's Gione and Ollie Wise coming together. Leonidas Peruzzi was okay, but Eric Sellis, you saw originally, now Jacob Ashcroft led from pole, Van Dijk from 3rd on the grid, making his move on Dauvergne there for 2nd, and then it did seem as though Ashcroft seemed to lose a bit of pace. Now he had already been passed by Van Dijk here. There's Dauvergne forcing Ashcroft over the grass, and that was Lewis Goff. Forcing Ashcroft over the grass. That is what, in the heat of the moment, I thought that was Cameron Nelson going over the grass. That is what cost Ashcroft all the time, and he never really recovered. Jacob Ashcroft eventually finishing 10th. as you watch the rest of the highlights, Oscar Guccio finished 6th eventually, followed by Caden Higgins, Bran van der Veken, Casper Nissen, then Ashcroft, followed by Dragos Avisil-Kute, Rayan Bourguignon, Yuri Navar, Theo Palmer and Connor Clancy, the rest of the top 15. And looking down the order, you've seen them on your screen. You're watching Goff's defence there, which was robust, but, you know, that's what karting's all about. Skeles and Nelson coming together. Further back, Laura Bubinova finishing 25th, and Eva Morris 28th on her debut. But there's the man, number one finger in the air, the Dutchman, Tish van Wyk, is your 2024 Rotax International Trophy Junior Max Champion. And ladies and gentlemen, we have one race to go. It's Senior Rotax, and it will be coming up after this commercial break.
Why do you come here? Is this your
They said the
career?
Black Eyed Peas were going to be here.
Or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best? Challenging yourself over and over again. Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
Or you can't afford mistakes because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are.
capturer cette sensation? Rien de plus simple avec la caméra casque Cambox. Design ultra discret, adapté à tous les casques. Avec sa vue immersive unique au monde, captez vos émotions de course en toute sécurité. Caméra casque Cambox, the safest immersive memories.
Why do you come here? Is this your career?
Or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best? Challenging yourself over and over again. Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
Or you can't afford mistakes because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final race of the 2024 Rotax International Trophy. Senior Rotax, 108 entries have been whittled down to the fast 36. Before we get into the starting lineup, let's have a bit of appreciation for our young ladies on the pom-poms. Especially row 4 and 5, absolutely worldy. Can you please take a picture for the XL Motorsport team? Dan Hart needs to reframe his bedroom wall. The picture of Smithers is coming down, and you are going on there with the hole in the right place. Here we go. It is going to be a fantastic 16-lap final, and it's going to be the reigning and defending senior Rotax champion, Ethan Jeff Hall, for Sam Pollitt Racing, who starts from the front row of the grid alongside the Scottishman, the Diamond of Dalry, Lewis Gilbert. Gilbert has finished 4th and 2nd in this race the last 2 years. On the inside of row number 2, the 2022 champion, Nolan Lemori from France. As we watch Manuel Branco just give Ethan, Jeff Hall and Lewis Gilbert a final few words of guidance about how he wants the start to go. There we look on the right-hand side of our screens there. The number 414 cart of Nolan Lamori, the RM Concepts driver. He starts alongside Wales's Matthew Higgins for Dan Holland Racing. The Welshman from Trefeglois, who finished, another driver who is a British champion, second in this event last year. Just needs to go one better. Then it is another of the Dan Holland Racing carts, Jaden Tien from the Netherlands in cart 493 on the inside of row number 3, and on the outside of row 3, Arthur Roban in cart 477. Arthur has finished in the top 15 of this event the last 2 years. Then we look back, Simon Perigny in cart 408. Perigny drives for the AKR team, and then it is Macaulay Bishop, who was the vice champion in the Rotax Grand Finals as a Micromax driver all the way back in 2019. Lewildy 1, Lewildy 2 on the cameras there. Behind Bishop is Tom Langlois in cart 455 for the Jan Darms Racing team, and Denmark's Knud Nielsen goes from the outside of row number 5. He was fastest in qualifying. Then Tom Bio from France in cart 411, the kart management driver, and Mateja Radenkovic in cart 503, the Belgian Bovan Power entry. While Bovan Power are celebrating a victory in the junior class, can they make it a double here in seniors? Then it is former world champion Callum Bradshaw, the 2022 Rotax Grand Finals Senior Max champion, and Elia Papacena from Italy for the MKC Motorsport team. From Israel, Yam Pinto starts the 483 Dream Racing kart from the inside of the 8th row of the grid, and on the outside of row number 8, Lebanon's George Nassar. Titouan Lascalier goes from the inside of row number 9, cart 439. There is the kart management entered machine. And on the outside, Hugo Martinello in cart 401. Mitch Haynett on the bright green TB car entry. The Dutchman goes from row number 10 alongside Belgium's Sver Uben. Then it's Hugo Grasteau and Paul Grissel, an all-French 11th row. On the inside of row number 12, the only driver here representing Jordan, as he has done so many times, keeping the Jordanian flag flying proudly, is Hamza Al-Fayez. There he is for the Brand Racing team. And Tino Sidler, younger brother of Mario Sidler, he's out-qualified his older brother. Sidler is there for the Strawberry Racing team in cart 436 on the outside of row number 12. Armand Hamilton started today outside the top 36, races his way in. He starts the number 479 kart alongside Britain's Joshua Turnbull. Mehdi Lassoue in kart 458 qualified 108th, but has made it into the final alongside Hugo Brun on row number 13. Antoine Mahler and Jort van Wyk both had issues in the superheat, but they have made it into this event. Alberto Kiko Fracassi from Italy, the Venetian driver in kart 476, is next, alongside Poland's Colin Vashny. Then it's Elio Gilter from France and Mario Sidler from Switzerland. The final row of the grid, Patrick Donitza and Hannes Uberfeld scrape into the main event. 72 drivers did not make it. These 36 have. The last two international trophy champions start first and third. Now the signal is given to start engines, and now, Eric Sellis, we prepare for the big one, Senior Rotax, onto the rolling lap.
Voilà la catégorie senior qui est partie pour son tour de lancement et son tour de formation, emmené par Ethan Jeff Hall qui est en pole position avec Lewis Gilbert à ses côtés et Nolan Lemeret derrière lui en troisième position, qui aura à ses côtés sur cette deuxième ligne Matthew Higgins. On retrouvera sur la troisième ligne côté français Arthur Robin, le 477, et puis derrière sur le côté gauche de cette grille de départ, lorsqu'on regarde le premier virage, eh bien on va retrouver Simon Périgny, le 408, sur la quatrième ligne, Tom Langlois sur la cinquième ligne et Tom Biou sur la sixième ligne. Ensuite il faut remonter un peu plus loin pour retrouver Titouan Lescalier, Hugo Martinello, Hugo Grasto, Paul Grisel et puis Mehdi Laswed, Hugo Brun. En ce qui concerne les représentants tricolores, Antoine Mahler et enfin Elio Gilter, malheureux ce matin, qui a dû abandonner, sinon il serait parti dans une position bien plus avancée sur la grille. Voilà le peloton qui est maintenant reconstitué. On est en train de reformer les lignes au fur et à mesure et surtout les colonnes de cette grille de départ. Et dans quelques instants, on va aborder le dernier virage, le virage du paddock, pour se mettre aux ordres de la direction de course, accélérer le rythme progressivement et se lancer dans les 16 tours de cette dernière finale de la journée. Et ça semble être bien parti. Oui, c'est parti correctement pour l'ensemble. Oula, ça s'est touché, semble-t-il, entre Gilbert et Jeff Hall. Mais Jeff Hall qui va conserver le leadership, et je pense que c'est Nolan Lemeret qui s'est peut-être immiscé en deuxième position, me semble-t-il.
Somehow everybody gets through turn 3 cleanly. As I say that, one of the Sidler brothers jumps up over the back of Sphere Uben's cart but carries on. It was a great even start between Jeff Hall and Gilbert, but then as they came out of turn number 2, Nolan Lemori was able to just move underneath Gilbert to take P2. It's Ethan Jeff Hall, the reigning champion, versus Nolan Lemori, the 2022 champion. As we head down the straight, we have lost live timing up here in the commentary box, but I can tell you that it's Jeff Hall, it's back from Lemori, from Gilbert, from Higgins, TN, everyone else streaming behind it. I can see at the back of the screen Sver Uben, the damage he received there when one of the Sidlers jumped up over the back of him, and that has cost Uben. He is out of the race. And what is going on between Callum Bradshaw and Macaulay Bishop? It looks like the rear bumper of Callum Bradshaw's cart, it's not hanging off, but it's sort of bowed up a little bit. They are running down in 6th and 7th positions, but it is Ethan Jeff Hall for Sam Pollitt Racing trying to break away. Lemori chased by Gilbert for the Kraft Motorsport team. Then the two Dan Holland carts, TN and Higgins. Then a gap back to Bishop in 6th and Bradshaw in 7th. Following Bradshaw in 8th is Perigny. Then it's Arthur Roban. We complete lap number 2 and Lemori's closing in on the Englishman.
Allez, c'est parti très très fort devant, avec un groupe de 5 pilotes qui s'est échappé, avec Gilbert qui tentait de reprendre la deuxième position à Lemeret, mais qui a failli se faire contrer, me semble-t-il, par Tien. En tout cas, ça a été très 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 limite, mais attention, encore une fois, on retrouve la même physionomie de course. Un leader qui commence à s'échapper et derrière de la bagarre, et qui va lui permettre de partir, et regardez déjà l'écart qui est creusé entre Ethan Jeff Hall et le reste du peloton, parce que derrière, eh bien, on se chamaille, on cherche à passer, et malheureusement, eh bien, entre les résistances des uns et les attaques des autres, eh bien, ça fait les affaires du leader Ethan Jeff Hall, qui va passé ici pour la 3e fois et qui a maintenant une avance, tenez-vous bien, d'1 seconde 4. Il a gagné 8 dixièmes sur ce tour.
Is history repeating itself as Gilbert tries to pass Lamore for second place? He tried it here a lap ago. They're slowing each other down. Higgins is now in the 3rd position. Once again, the chasing pack are letting the leader just escape. This is unreal. Tactically, I cannot understand what some of these drivers are doing, because there goes Higgins. Right, Matthew Higgins, he's made 3 good moves there. Now he's into P2. Right, Matthew, let's set sail. Gilbert, though, coming straight back at him. Higgins has to defend into virage at the Technopark corner, and finally Higgins has clean air. Behind them, Perigny has gone wide, and I think that is Tom Bio also losing ground. But they've given Ethan Jeff Hall a 3-second head start, and we're only on lap 5 out of 16. What can Matthew Higgins do? Head down. Both these two drivers, Ethan Jeff Hall and Matthew Higgins, are now part-time karters. Jeff Hall racing Ginettas and Higgins racing GT4s. But it shows that it's like riding a bike. You don't forget how to do it, despite the lack of seat time compared to some of the other drivers. Now it's all sorted itself out, with Gilbert in 3rd. Bradshaw is up into 4th. Lamore has been pushed back to 6th, with Bishop and Tien also involved. But let's look at the gap as the leader off screen comes across the start finish line. Ethan Jeff Hall, well, it's a 54.68 second lap. Gilbert puts in a 54.4. Paul Grissel down in 15th does a 54.1, and Gilbert and Jeff Hall's lead is still 2.7 seconds.
Et voilà, le scénario que l'on redoutait est en train de se concrétiser avec Ethan Jeff Hall qui s'envole, qui prend ses distances petit à petit sur le reste de la course. Et derrière, on a toujours Matthew Higgins et Lewis Gilbert au coude à coude. Gilbert qui vient de reprendre la 2e position à Higgins, mais encore une fois, tous ces dépassements font le jeu du leader, parce que derrière on se chamaille, on se gêne, on se coupe les trajectoires, on essaye de se entre guillemets piéger, de se ralentir les uns les autres pour faire la différence. Et pendant ce temps-là, lui, Ethan Jeff Hall, qui a la piste libre devant lui, est en train de creuser son avance. On est désormais à 3 secondes d'avance pour le pilote du kart 487. Autant dire que là, ça va devenir complètement une mission impossible pour revenir sur Ethan Jeff Hall. Et Lewis Gilbert, qui a repris la 2e position, maintenant va devoir cravacher pour rester à l'abri de la pression de Matthew Higgins, et de peut-être de revenir et de combler l'écart sur le leader. Mais rien n'est moins sûr, parce que dans ce groupe de chasse, on se fait une guerre de tous les instants.
We were watching some interesting action down at the Curve du Duchamp as Jan Pinto, Macaulay Bishop, Hugo Martinello, Simon Perigny, Tituan Lascalier, all fighting for the lower reaches of the top 10. As we look back at the midfield runners, there's Arthur Roban going through. He has dropped all the way back to 19th position. Armand Hamilton is up from 27th to 17th. The gap at the front is still 3 seconds between race leader Ethan Jeff Hall, Gilbert, Higgins, 4th place driver Jaden Tien. Then it's Bradshaw, B.O., Pinto. There is Macaulay Bishop on your screen, running in 8th place, just ahead of Simon Perigny and Tituan Lascalier. Lamari has disappeared down to 12th, so the 2022 champion is not going to make it 2 titles. But we've already had 1 successful international trophy title defense. In fact, we've had 2 today, unofficially at least, with Albie Friend in Minimax and Antoine Barbaroux in DD2. Could we be having a 3rd with Ethan Jeff Hall in Senior Rotax? We're looking further back. There is the Sam Pollock Racing driver. Oh, Sam, the team owner. What a weekend to choose to not come to France.
Allez, ça revient un petit peu pour Lewis Gilbert. Alors dans cette situation, est-ce que c'est Jeff Hall qui a baissé de rythme ou Gilbert qui a haussé la cadence? Eh bien la réponse est la deuxième, puisque Lewis Gilbert vient de tourner 4 dixièmes plus vite que Ethan Jeff Hall qui avait 3 secondes d'avance. Il peut se permettre, le leader, de commencer un petit peu à regarder les chronos, à gérer un petit peu. Mais en tout cas, derrière, ça va être très très compliqué pour Lewis Gilbert de revenir sur Ethan Jeff Hall, tellement l'avance est conséquente.
Well, Ethan Jeff Hall took a long look over his shoulder as he crossed the start-finish line at the start lap number 10. The reason he did is because Lewis Gilbert has taken 7/10 of a second out of the race leader in the last 2 laps. The gap was 3 seconds. It's now 2.3 seconds. A 53.6 for Gilbert, a 53.9 for Jeff Hall. Gilbert is 0.6 of a second in front of Matthew Higgins, who is now falling back into the clutches of Jaden Thien. Have I spoken too soon? Is this one over yet? It may not be. Let's see. On this lap, Gilbert is another couple of tenths quicker. Unfortunately, Gilbert needs to go a lot quicker. Well, there's a new fastest lap, 53.57 for Gilbert. It's another 2 tenths quicker than Jeff Hall. Tom Bio is fastest of all now, 53.58. The gap is down to 2.1 seconds. And there is still time. There is still time as Higgins forced to go to the outside to defend against Thien. Jaden Thien takes third place. It's now the Dutch driver up into the podium position.
Allez, c'est maintenant tout l'intérêt de cette deuxième partie de course. Est-ce que Lewis Gilbert va pouvoir le faire? Mais regardez, Ethan Jeff Hall qui s'est retourné pour voir où était son adversaire direct. Tout à l'heure, il a réalisé son meilleur tour personnel. Là, il vient d'accélérer la cadence. Meilleur deuxième secteur pour Ethan Jeff Hall. Il va devoir maintenant attendre le verdict du chrono. 53.6, 53.5 pour Lewis Gilbert. Et Tien qui est passé devant Higgins. Tom Biou qui est toujours en 5e position. Mais le Français qui est très menaçant, lui qui avait réalisé au tour précédent le record du tour en course, eh bien est-ce que Tom Biou va pouvoir peut-être aller chercher, pourquoi pas, la dernière marche du podium, parce que devant lui, Higgins et Tien qui se battent pour la 3e position sont tout à fait prenables entre guillemets. Maintenant il faut trouver l'ouverture. Lewis Gilbert toujours à la chasse de Jeff Hall, l'écart est réduit à 2 secondes maintenant, 2 secondes. Il a repris plus d'une seconde 2 en 3 tours pour le kart numéro 495. Est-ce que maintenant son capital pneumatique pourra lui permettre de tenir cette cadence jusqu'au bout? C'est toute l'incertitude de cette fin de course.
Well, on this lap, Ethan Jeff Hall sets a personal best. He loses another tenth to Gilbert. We're on lap 13 out of 16. And, black flag for driver 414, Nolan Lamore. Black flag for Lamore. So, the 2022 champion ends his day. Well, he'll probably end his day in the steward's office, but he ends his day on the track with a non-finish. I don't know what it's for. Gilbert is again inching towards Jeff Hall, but Jeff Hall is just too far in front. Tien is third. Higgins, Tom Bio there with the green crash helmet for the kart management team. There's the black flag for Nolan Lamore. And you can just see how many spectators are there hanging over the pit wall. And now Higgins having to defend 4th place against Bio. Then Bishop and Bradshaw are next. Behind Bradshaw is Liscalier, Perigny, Mitch Haynett in the top 10, followed by Martinello, Pinto, Nielsen, Lesui. Mehdi Lesui is on for a top 15 finish at the qualifying 108th. And he is there in the number 457 car. What a drive for Mehdi Lesui. A new fastest lap as well. Langlois, Robin, Hamilton, Van Veek, Voshny and Radenkovic, your top 20. Elia Papachena has dropped back a little bit to 26th. Hamza Al-Fayez has faded to 25th. George Nassar is down to 24th. Mario Sidler, so the senior slider, is 27th. Junior slider, Tino Sidler, is down in 32nd. We got 34 karts still running. Giltaire, Turnbull, Tino Sidler, Fracassi and Grasto down at the back of the field. But up at the front, we are going to be starting we're on the penultimate lap. And, well, Gilbert has got the gap down to 1.6 seconds. I would say this is where nerves start to set in, Eric. But Ethan Jeff Hall, he's been there, he's done that, and he has won this race. So I don't think there'll be any nerves at all. I think Ethan Jeff Hall is in perfect control.
Oui, Ethan Jeff Hall qui va dans un instant couper la ligne de chronométrage pour l'avant-dernière fois, et Lewis Gilbert qui revient, qui comble l'écart, mais ça sera trop tard. Il ne pourra pas inverser le cours des choses. Voilà, Ethan Jeff Hall qui rentre dans son dernier tour avec 1 seconde 5 d'avance. Alors, est-ce que derrière, Tom Biou va pouvoir prendre le meilleur sur Matthew Higgins? On va voir si le Français peut gagner une position. C'est très très chaud, mais de toute façon, il ne pourra pas aller chercher Jaden Tin qui est devant et qui va aller lui certainement récupérer la 3e marche du podium. Ça sera une course à l'usure pour Ethan Jeff Hall qui va aller chercher un nouveau succès. Lewis Gilbert va devoir se contenter de la 2e position. Il a perdu trop de temps en début de course pour rester au contact du leader. Et enfin, Jaden Tien sera un brillant 3e. Voilà ce que l'on peut dire.
I know that Ethan Jeff Hall has been racing and winning in Ginettas. I hope there is no Ginetta race between October the 29th and the 26th, because Ethan Jeff Hall will need to be in Sarno for the Rotax Grand Finals. He successfully defends his international trophy title for Sam Pollitt Racing. Lewis Gilbert, 2nd place, one of the most consistently impressive international records, but it's P2 again for Gilbert. Jaden Teen is your 3rd and final podium finisher for Dan Holland Racing, ahead of Matthew Higgins, Tom Bio, then it's Macaulay Bishop in 6th. Titouan Lascalier 7th, Simon Perigny 8th, Callum Bradshaw 9th, and well done to the TB Kart team. Mitch Haynett finishes P10 ahead of Jan Pinto, Knud Nielsen and Mehdi Lassued, from 108th in qualifying to 13th in the final. Bravo, Mehdi, bravo. Hugo Martinello and Armand Hamilton finish, round out your top 15. Jort van Wyk gained 14 places, along with Colin Vashni. They finished 16th and 18th. Tom Langlois 17th. Radenkovic, Grisel, and the rest you can see on your screens now. But the day, and indeed the weekend, belongs to either Jeff Hall. Lewis Gilbert did everything he possibly could to sort of take Ethan Jeff Hall's line away, but Jeff Hall stood firm, and here's where we saw Sven Uben's race come to an end. One of the Seedlers coming up and probably knocked an exhaust off there. You can see a bit of debris flying. This is the battle for 2nd place. Lamori defending from Gilbert, Teen and Higgins, and as they scrap, there's Perigny going off the circuit behind Bradshaw and Arthur Roban. But as they battle for 2nd place, Higgins got it initially, then it was Gilbert again. They settled down, but Gilbert was like, I gotta go. And the Craft Motorsport driver just made his move into P2. At this point, he was 3 seconds back. He clawed back half the deficit, but realistically, it was never going to be enough to stop Ethan Jeff Hall. Eric Sellis, I know that you have several events to cover tomorrow for French television. What have you made of the international trophy?
Ça a été une superbe course, ça a été un superbe week-end et ça a été une superbe expérience ici au Mans pour suivre tous ces pilotes, ces différentes catégories. On a encore vécu une dernière finale absolument incroyable au niveau intensité. C'est vrai que le spectacle a un petit peu manqué sur cette dernière course, mais en tout cas, on ne peut pas reprocher ça à Ethan Jeff Hall qui, lui, a fait sa course et il est allé chercher son ticket gagnant pour l'Italie. Ça sera du 19 au 26 octobre prochain pour la grande finale. En tout cas, bravo à tous les pilotes. On rappelle 318 pilotes au départ ce week-end, plus de 35 nationalités représentées. Donc ça a été un événement parfaitement maîtrisé par 3MK Events. Bravo à tous les pilotes, bravo à toutes les pilotes également, bien évidemment. Et puis on remercie également The Orange Army, les commissaires de piste. Bravo messieurs, dames. Merci à vous, merci de votre présence parce que sans vous, eh bien, il n'y aurait pas de course, bien évidemment.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Eric. Thank you to the marshals, the Orange Army here at Le Mans. Thank you to all the circuit officials, the medical staff, and on behalf of our promoters, 3MK Events and Rotax BRP, this has been a WFR live TV production of the 2024 Rotax Max Challenge International Trophy from Le Mans. We will see you very soon. Thank you for joining us.